Welcome to the Modern Streamers League, Week 6, Night 2 edition. We have some very special guests that I'll be announcing in a moment, but first I want to thank all of you who are watching right now and who will be watching on YouTube later. Thank you, future. Thank you, present. So I want to have a very good time tonight. Right now, my team, Team Ice, is up 3-2, so there's not much to talk about, just we're going to keep winning, right? Right, Rob? That's what's going to happen? Team Ice is going to win? No?
I don't know, man. I don't want to be looking at me. So
well, you are playing
I'm hoping
tonight.
I can take you guys down today.
You are playing tonight, and you are the representative of Team Fire. Do you want to give the people watching right now a brief intro of yourself?
Absolutely. So, hello everyone. Welcome. My name is Bobby Benson. Attended Clemson University in South Carolina. I got my Magic start around there. Played a lot in the Atlanta meta, and then I was very thankful enough to be able to pick up a sponsorship from Team Tapstart Games. So I then traveled the SCG Tour. I'm well known for playing Control, predominantly my Jeskai Control deck. And then more recently, I've been experimenting with a little bit of blue-white and a little bit of four-color. So I look forward to hopefully showing that off.
We look forward to seeing your deck tonight, too. And for those who haven't seen that deck yet, it is up on ModernStreamersLeague.com, maybe /deck list. So you can just click deck lists once it's up there, and you can go jump right there and see Bobby's deck list. Now we have another special guest all the way from Chicago,
Illinois, baby.
Wow. We have Zach from the Dive Down podcast. Hi,
That's
Zach.
me.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Zach Callahan. I've been playing Magic since about 7th edition. I'm part of the Dive Down podcast. We focus on the latest decks, trends, and strategies in Modern out every Friday. We do a mixture of individual deck techs, card dives, and just what's going on in Modern at the moment.
Yeah, in the Dive Down, I just want to give you guys a shout out. You guys are fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic quality content. It's just something that I've always been looking for in Modern. And I'm sure when you guys got together and you started the Dive Down podcast, a little bit when I talked with Shane when he was on last season a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was just something that felt like there was a void there. One of the reasons I started this Modern Streamers League was just something I wanted the community to have. And I feel the same passion you guys have with your podcast, which is absolutely great. So, yeah, anybody who's watching chat, check it out. Not right now. Watch the show right now, and check out their podcast. Comes out every Friday.
Absolutely. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, anywhere you get your podcast, you can find us.
Great. So the Modern Streamers League is proudly sponsored by Card Hoarder and Card Kingdom. I've talked a lot about it, so I'll be really quick, but that's where I buy my digital products. It's Card Hoarder for all of my MTGO decks, and I have a pretty big collection. I'm not bragging, I'm saying I use them a lot. Whenever I'm like, I have a new deck, I go and quickly buy the cards from Card Hoarder. You can also rent from them if that's easier for you. Card Kingdom is where I purchase all my paper cards. They also have a great foil selection. I've been trying to foil out a couple decks, which is probably foolish because once you start, like I'm halfway done with Amulet Titan. By halfway, I mean 2/3. But the cards that are left are like 75% of the cost. It's like Cavern Foils, Cavern Gemstone, Cavern Azusa, Cavern Amulet. I'm like, I don't know. Hey, hey, honey, can I spend $4,000
an easy 4K
on products I already have? But they're great. Card Kingdom's great. Definitely go and check them out. That's where I buy all my paper products. Now, the Modern Streamers League is also a charity league. We are working to raise funding and awareness for two great charities. We have A21, which is the Team Fire's charity, which their goal is to abolish slavery everywhere. The fact that it's 2019 and we still have slaves, like it's a worldwide issue, even right in the United States of America, which is where the three of us are from. There's still slavery happening here. We need to get rid of it. Team Fire, that is their charity. Check out A21. You can either donate to this league, sub to this league, or donate directly to the charity itself. And the link right below. Team Ice is rooting for and representing the Cancer Research Institute, whose goal is to end cancer everywhere. I think everyone watching, everyone in chat, everyone in YouTube, everyone in the world knows someone that has been touched by cancer in some way. This institute is doing great work and great strides to make that so it doesn't happen anymore. that's about the Modern Streamers League. From this point forward, RJ will be your host. He will be taking over, and I'll be sitting back and trying to have a good time watching these matches. So to start, we're going to have match 1. I'll let RJ jump in and jump through that.
Absolutely. So match 1 is going to be between Capolo. Capolo is well known for playing his Ponza deck this particular round. And we're also going to be playing against CyrusCG, or Cyrus Corman-Gill, who is a well-known and well-renowned Storm player. So this is definitely going to be a very interesting match. Stay tuned, and let's get that going.
Okay. First, we will jump into the deck, then the Forecast of Doom. But right after that, straight into that match. And these two gentlemen to my virtual right, field, my left, I don't know. To my right,
somewhere in
your
Cardinals
perspective.
space.
Yeah. They will be giving excellent commentary, so I'm looking forward to it. So without further ado, we will hop into Capolo's deck.
Hello, I'm Capolo, and for this part of the Modern Streamer League season, I'm playing Red-Green Ponza or Land Destruction. We have 10 ramp spells in Arbor Elf, Birds of Paradise, and Utopia Sprawl. Utopia Sprawl and Arbor Elves allows you to cast a 4-drop on turn 2. Then we have the core of the Mana Denial plan. We have 4 Blood Moons, 4 Pillage that can kill lands or the equipments from Stoneforge Mystic, 2 Acid Moss, 1 Acidic Slime that can also kill artifacts or enchantment, Abyss Within that is a catch-all, and 2 Trinisphere against combo decks. Our value cards are Chandra Torch of Defiance, also allows you to ramp to the big payoff that we will see in a bit. Then we have Karn of the Great Creator. As Wishboard for Karn of the Great Creator, we have a Trinisphere for combo, the Lattice Lock, we have Liquid Metal Coating to kill additional lands, Torpor Ore for humans, and Snaring Bridge for creatures, Wurmcoil Angel for like grindy decks or if we need to gain life, and Relic of Progenitors against graveyard decks. Back to the main board, we have 3 Tireless Trackers as another value engine, and 1 Seasoned Pyromancer. I've actually liked this card a lot in the deck. As payoffs, we have a Glorybringer. Against creature decks can remove a creature and put some threat. Stormbred Dragon, the protection from white is really good against control decks. 2 Infernal Titan, and 1 Chandra Awakened Inferno. The other sideboard slots that are not the Karn Wishboard, we have 2 Anger of the Gods for creatures deck, a Shatterstorm for artifact deck like Urza or Affinity. Trucktusk and Ballot are good mid-range threats and provide some additional life gain. And we have a Choke against control deck. See you guys in the league.
Welcome to the Forecast of Doom. This is the first forecast this evening. We have Cyrus Corman-Gill on Storm, and we have Capolo, 42, on Gruul Ponza. This is one of those matchups where it just looks like Storm is absolutely going to demolish. I can't imagine a scenario, and that's actually what I'm going to talk about. Ponza can win this by pillaging all of Storm's lands away, so Storm can never get to 2 lands and or 1 land with a dork mana creature in play. If that's the case, Ponza can win. If Ponza can land an early Trinisphere, Ponza can win. If Ponza can land an early Karn, maybe like a turn 2 Karn off of an Arbor Elf and Utopia Sprawl, and then grab a Relic of Progenitus, and then grab another Trinisphere, I could see that. I could see Ponza winning that way. Storm just needs to be fast, be consistent, and doesn't really care about Blood Moon as long as they have a single basic island. Because Manamorphose can sometimes get them out of that. And I really am just looking at this as saying, how can Storm lose? And I think Storm can just lose if Ponza has those really fast starts I just mentioned. I'm going to put Storm at maximum chance to win this, and Ponza still has that slim chance because you always have a chance to win in Magic. Let's see how it all plays out.
Alrighty.
Here we go.
So this is definitely an interesting opening hand. I could see Cyrus got a little bit of everything. He's got some cantrips. He's got his Metamorphose. We're really looking for an enabler here. I think something that is really noticeable about Cap's list in particular is he doesn't really have interaction with the creatures that Cyrus can put into play.
Right. So Electromancer, one of those brawls, is just huge, and basically he gets that, he goes off unless he whiffs, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think being able to stick a threat like that is going to be pretty much lights out against Cap's deck. I mean, his deck is very, very light on interaction with the graveyard. So even a Past in Flames line, ooh, it looks like he found one too.
Oof, that's brutal.
Wow, that's going to be super potent.
Yeah, Electromancer.
Big time.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
And there you
Talk
go.
Talk about a counter punch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so, Electromancer into Ritual, into Metamorphose, into ideally go off. But, I mean, Trinisphere shuts that down.
I'm actually curious to see how Cyrus breaks out of this. Thankfully.
Oh.
Ooh.
That's brutal.
Wow.
I mean, let's see
coming out
what you do from here at Storm, right?
That's lights out. I mean, he did have his copy of Repeal in his hand, but not being able to cast it's going to be a huge detriment.
A 4-drop is not what you want in that scenario, is it?
No. Now we just have to see if Cap has a way to close the door. I mean, the Trinisphere is going to be enough to give him some breathing room, but he needs to find a way to slam the door shut.
And okay. Well, that is one of those ways, huh? That's gonna get it real quick. Yeah. And with the fetch up, so you get the trigger. There we go.
Wow. I mean, Cap's putting on a clinic here. I mean, this is something that is just truly a powerful, aggressive Ponza draw. I mean, one of the big takeaways from Ponza previously, the reason why a lot of people really strayed away from the deck is the deck often floundered. You'd have a lot of situations where you'd have like one big haymaker piece, and then if it was dealt with, immediately your deck started drawing extra Birds of Paradise, extra Utopia Sprawl, but really nothing to close the door here. This Tireless Tracker is going to probably run away with this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a way that Storm can get back into this, quite frankly. At this point, all their spells are costing 3. They're stuck on 2 lands. They have a Chandra and 3 clues at this point. Never mind.
Oh
I mean,
God.
And we see the right-click concede right there.
Oh, my God.
What can you do? I mean, I doubted the Trinisphere when I saw the deck before this, and now, I mean, I feel like I've been showed my place, right?
Oh my goodness! I mean, somebody call the police. This man just got mugged.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Unreal.
911. I'd like to report a murder. Oh. Exile Zone Seas Inferno Titan. I mean, what can you do to that? Oh, what a trooper sticking in the game. Oh, no,
wow.
There we go.
So,
wow.
Okay.
Yeah, a Braid. Empty the Warrens. Absolutely. So, if you're on Ponza, I guess you're thinking about if you want to bring in Anger of the Gods here, as it is likely the only removal they have in this scenario, as we saw they don't have Lightning Bolt main. And Empty the Warrens is a common choice for Storm to bring in as well. So if I'm Ponza, I'm looking to bring in my Anger of the Gods, but let's see what they did.
Something to note particularly about Cap's list as well is Cap's list is playing Karn, so he doesn't really have a whole lot of sideboard pieces available to him. He does have a Choke, which might see play against this particular version, just because there's a lot more islands as compared to Fetchless. So I think that might see some play, but you do have to at least respect Empty the Warrens.
Oh, not even a question. Choke is very good here too. Is the only way to deal with it the main board Echoing Truth?
He does bring in Spell Pierce post board, which is, I guess, a proactive or a reactive way of catching it on the way down. Repeal is definitely another option, which gives the deck some legs, but something you see here out of Cyrus's deck, he's bringing in Aria of Flame. So even if you're attacking his mana base, even if he necessarily casts a cantrip a turn, if he can stabilize at 3 lands, play through a Trinisphere, and kind of fight his way through, he'll eventually get there.
No, definitely. The whole thing with decks like Ponza is you can, dirtle a little bit and have them quote-unquote locked down, but you do need to finish up with the threat.
No, for sure. I agree 100%. And I think being able to hold up this remand here is going to be clutch. Because we talked about it a little bit earlier, but remand against a deck like Ponza, especially casting 4 and 5 drop threats, is basically Time Walk. You're being able to take away your opponent's turn, you're drawing a card off of it, you're basically just cycling a card for a turn. And I think against a deck like this...
Yeah, you remand right there. Oh, goodness. Ooh, that's brutal. That's absolutely brutal. I mean, the game's obviously not over, but that just feels so pivotal right there, right?
Yes. So I do want to point out something here. So you're seeing Cyrus is actually playing the land and fetching before he casts the Serum Visions. This is a little bit different than the version of the deck that we saw earlier in the week, which is playing fetchless. So their cantrips are a little more streamlined. Cyrus has to be a little bit more heads up with the way he sequences his spells here in order to make sure that he doesn't get blown out.
Right.
So we are seeing an Echoing Truth off the Serum Visions, which is going to be really lights out here because he's going to be able to end step Echoing Truth the Trinisphere, untap, and then go off. I think really what we're looking for here is maybe one more ritual.
Well, not end step, right? Or you mean on his next turn?
Yes.
Gotcha. That makes way more sense.
Yes. So being able to just... Right now, Cap is in a spot where he says, okay, he's got pretty much all the mana in the world to work with. Right. You're able to take advantage of just hiding behind the Trinisphere, playing a little bit of defense.
Oh, but he goes for the Gifts Ungiven. All right.
Interesting. I think being short the land is going to be a big deal. Do you think this is a traditional gifts pile where it's basically the usual desperate pyretic? Grab another gifts, value gifts? No.
Yeah, so it's what it seems like ritual, empty the Warren's land?
I think that's safe. I mean, this is a mana desperate or a mana gift. So you're looking for something here where you already have the Piff in hand, so you don't have to worry about grabbing it out of the deck, but you're able to make sure that you protect yourself and keep your mana consistently coming.
Right, absolutely. Because Storm can get to 4, but it struggles to get past there, and once it has 4, it can struggle to get more. So you're getting it consistently, and then if they put your Warrens in the graveyard, you have Past in Flames.
Exactly. And even if Cap blows up one more land, you're putting yourself in a circumstance where you're able to always make sure you're guaranteeing that land drop, which against the matchup like Ponza is a huge deal. And wow, ritual off the top as well.
Getting a little hot in here.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Now, the question is, just doing the math in my head. No, so we Echoing Truth on the end step and can go off main phase?
It seems like they have it, right? Ooh, what does Karn get? Now, another Trinisphere isn't the right move, unless they don't know they've Echoing Truth, in which case they might think it's the right move. In their shoes, I think I would grab the Trinisphere to feel safe, because I don't know what else is the right call here.
So remember that these players do have access to deck lists, right?
Oh,
so
thank you, yes.
If you grab another Trinisphere, knowing that the only way to answer it off the board is either Repeal or Echoing Truth, I think it's probably more likely that he's going to Echoing Truth. So I think in this situation, grabbing the Relic is probably most likely correct. I just don't know if it's going to be enough here.
Right.
I believe he's tapped out. So
yeah,
I think he's dead.
It feels very bad to cast a Relic and not have the 1 mana open like that. I get that you have to, and they don't have a lot of outs in that scenario. But as someone who has played Relic and plays Relic, playing it and just being able to tap it and not sack it is a bad feeling.
Yeah, I think that's...
And here we go. Yep. Oh, well, pour one out, right?
Hey, I mean, it happens.
Yeah, I mean, well, we saw the inverse happen, so it's nice to see Storm get there for once, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it just goes to show the power level of this Storm deck. This is a deck that is incredibly resilient. Previous Storm decks were always getting hosed by these graveyard hate pieces, most particularly Surgical Extraction. You just have to play through it or potentially lose the game on the spot, especially with Gifts Ungiven. Now you're seeing the graveyard hate has shifted. People are playing less hate for Dredge. People are playing less hate for Hogak. You don't really need hard graveyard hate anymore. So being able to turn around and say, okay, I don't need my Surgicals anymore. I can just play a Relic of Progenitus. I can go and I can play maybe a Scavenging Ooze. Now the metagame has shifted. Now you're able to play a lot more just soft permission.
Sure. So in your opinion, do you think that Storm will have a little bit of a windfall due to the lessening specific graveyard hate, and that Storm might have a moment of comeback then to Tier 1?
I would like to see Storm make a resurgence.
Sure.
I actually just recently wrote an article on this, and I think one of the best ways to attack the common metagame right now, everyone's playing a lot of fair strategies. You're seeing a lot of Stoneforge Mystic decks, you're seeing a lot of Jund, you're seeing even a resurgence of like Abzan Stoneblade.
Yeah, a lot of mid-range, exactly.
Exactly.
There we go, there's a concession, yep.
There you go. So how do you prey on something like that? You're playing decks like Tron, you're playing decks like Ponza, you're playing decks that are just big mana or aggressive combo.
Absolutely.
And decks like Storm are able to take advantage of decks that come out the gate a little bit slower, that don't really have crazy interaction. Maybe a Thoughtseize, maybe a discard spell here, but these Storm decks are Past in Flames decks. They're very good at refilling their hands. They have tons of cantrip. I would like to see Storm potentially make a resurgence here.
Interesting. Yeah, and I think Storm is a deck that can be hated out as well. It's not some sort of Imperious deck. So I think that a deck that is good and consistent, but does have good hate cards as well against it, is a deck that I do want to see.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think Storm is in a position where it becomes overpowering. I think Storm is in a good spot. I think it's a healthy deck for the format, because something has to be able to beat big mana, because otherwise Tron runs a format.
No, no question at all. Also, yeah, this hand's... Wait, did they keep this? Ooh,
This
okay.
is an aggressive keep.
That's an
especially
aggressive
when you're
keep.
playing against Ponza.
Against Ponza, one land, just hope you rip it? Oh, man. And they have the Arbor Elf, so it might just be, oh, wow.
Mm.
Ooh.
The Serum Vicious. I think we're just trying every land we can find to the top.
Oh, no!
Oh.
Oh, well, we hardly knew ye, Storm. We hardly knew ye.
Oh, boy.
Oh. Are we gonna watch a man get pillaged? A whole village torn apart?
Oh, no.
Oh, that village is getting pillaged.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness. Did he missequence there? No, he did it right.
No, he only has one land too. Wow, this is the one land keep theme.
All right. Well, it's nice to know that other people have this happen to them as well, and it's not just me, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's nice to see somebody, especially a skilled player like Cyrus, who really knows his stuff, keep also one land hands and being able to try to take the risk. To be fair, his hand was excellent. I think Cyrus looked at the list and said, okay, oh wow.
Oh, and they have 2 red. Oh, what are they gonna do? Oh, nothing. Okay, just pass.
But no, I was saying I think Cyrus knows this list and says, okay, if I can stick this Baral, I go off on turn 3 and win the game on the spot. Yeah, so I think that's a keep.
And yeah, the whole thing is you just really need to get one of your enablers, Baral, Electromancer, to stick, because as we know, Ponza doesn't have a ton of ways to deal with that. So, and like you said, they have the list. So the ideal is right when those enablers out and just storm off like we saw.
Yes.
But now they have access to how much mana? Oof. 8? Well, that's a lot of mana. That seems good.
Yep, makes sense. Big threat beats down. Oh man.
That man has a family.
Cap is just laying the smackdown. I mean, there is no brakes on this train.
Yeah, I mean,
he's just...
how does Storm come back from this, right? I mean, they only have 1 card in hand. That's definitely only 1 card in hand. And the clock is a little... They have a 3-turn clock right now, assuming they attack with both. But this seems a little rough.
Ironically enough, it's a Glorybringer too. That's probably the only threat in his deck that also doubles as a removal spell. Right. So even sticking the ball isn't going to be enough here.
It's Karn. I mean, Karn grab Trinisphere. They have the mana to cast it.
Yeah, that's going to be...
and never see the Trinisphere grabbed. Yeah, I mean, what can you do about that?
No, I mean, this hand was... It was a risky hand, but double Utopia Sprawl plus Arbor Elf, that's pretty gasoline.
Oof. Oh, they're going to play it out? No, they're not. There we go.
Okay. I was going to say, that's a little bit of a risky...
yeah. What a game.
No, absolutely. So we already see today on the day, Team Fire is going to be up 1-0.
Ooh, in real time. 2-3. There we go.
Bam.
All right. So we are tied up going into the next match.
Wow. So I felt pretty confident as a Team Ice member looking at that matchup and saying, Cyrus on Storm against a deck that doesn't do well against Storm.
Yeah.
I feel like that's an easy win. But again, that just, Team Ice stole one from Team Fire on Monday when Noble Murloc beat Garrett's Druid Abzan Company deck with mono green Karn. He was running no removal main except for Walking Ballista and still beat a Devoted Druid deck in probably one of the most ridiculous matches I've ever seen in my entire life. And that one that just happened is already like at that level. That was amazing. Right. That was great. I just wish it was in favor of my team instead of Team Fire.
No, yeah, I mean that was something else. I think we pretty much, all three of us, probably had Ponza just written off dead and buried. Yes. I don't think there was a world where we believed that deck was going to go, especially with no removal for those conduits. So being able to just play a bear and go off was really the name of the game, but being able to have the Trinisphere in game 1,
Right.
as well as interaction, even in game 2, I mean, that was not an easy game 2 that Cyrus was able to squeak out. So there are a lot of weird scenarios in Modern where even when you have it all, sometimes it's not enough.
Absolutely.
You can be so close and just not make it.
Oh, for sure. So that was definitely an awesome game, and that was well played. So up next, we do have Matt Hurley of the Tryhards, as well as playing against GhostXEmpire. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a super interesting match.
Yeah, we'll see in a minute. Welcome back to the second forecast of Doom. This one we have GhostXEmpire on Bant Eldrazi against the Tryhards 3 on Bant Midrange. These decks are very, very similar. They're both looking to drop a turn 1 mana dork and kind of accelerate from there. They both run the Stoneforge Mystic package, and they both have good top ends. What are the differences of these two decks? Well, Bant Eldrazi has Thought-Knot Seer, Reality Smasher, and Sky Spawner and Drowner of Hope. Just go very, very big. Now, Bant Midrange on the Tryhards end has Knight of the Reliquary, Spell Queller, additional Planeswalkers like Little Teferi and Nissa, and a Jace the Mind Sculptor. Now, this is really going to come down to, is Thought-Knot Seer, Reality Smasher, and the Blue Eldrazi better than those grindy Bant 3-drops and some Planeswalkers? I don't know. I do think Reality Smasher having haste is very, very relevant, especially combating a lot of these Planeswalkers. And a lot of these cards, these threats, get around Spell Queller. Now, Eldrazi Displacer works really well with opposing Knight of the Reliquaries and other opposing enemy cards. Can even flicker a Spell Queller, which doesn't do too much, but it still may allow you to get in a couple blockers. Now the sideboard cards here, Bant Midrange has a couple Knight of Autumns, which can be pretty useful at attacking opposing Batterskulls and Swords, and other Jace the Mind Sculptor. Jace the Mind Sculptor might be okay, might be good enough in this matchup, as long as the minus matters more than the threat of Reality Smasher off the top. I don't know. I don't know if I would bring in Jace the Mind Sculptor, but it is an option that the Triards have. On Ghost's end, he has 2 Reflector Mage and a Thrag Tusk. Also might be interested in those Thalias, considering how many non-creature permanent threats the Triards have. I'm intrigued with the Reflector Mages and just another Thrag Tusk, just to go big. Just go bigger than your mid-range opponent. That's the theme here. Whoever can go biggest is going to win. But let's see how it all plays out.
All right, so we're off here. Looks like Ghost has an interesting hand, but no green source, so that could be a problem.
But here we go. Yeah, Brushland and Plains here. Yeah, this looks good. This looks hot. We got, what, Hierarch into Mystic, into ideally Smasher after that. GG, have fun. I mean, a little extreme, but...
So, something that's actually interesting about this matchup is you're seeing both players are really playing Bant mid-rangey type strategies. I think this is going to be a who wears it better scenario where we have Stoneforge Mystic, a card recently unbanned in Modern, something that was notorious for taking over games and winning fair magic. I think it's going to be interesting to see who wears it better, Squiggly Monster or Knight of the Reliquary.
Yeah, right now it's 2 Spider-Man pointing at one another as it's Hierarch versus Hierarch on the open field.
Yeah, basically. So
but I will see. I think that the Eldrazi can scale a little better here. I know that in the clear Bant deck they have Gevity Township where it can build up, but I feel like the Eldrazi can go a little faster. So I think it's a matter of whether or not they can land their Eldrazi early, and if they can't, then it might just turn into sort of a grind fest.
That's kind of how I'm seeing things. Something that's very interesting here is I think card for card specifically, Ghost's deck is actually the underdog here. And the reason why I say that is you're going to get a lot of scenarios where I think Hurley's deck is just super good at bringing the game to a halt and using his Planeswalkers to take the game over.
Sure, exactly.
But, I mean, you could see right here an attempted spell caller of that Stoneforge Mystic, let it resolve, and then path it.
Yeah, that seems real good. That seems real good. You saw Ghost right there raise the one finger to the sky. I mean, what can you do about that, right?
See you later.
Yeah, cast. No, I would like to cast this, though, please. I would like to do this. So what? Grab. Ooh, they're going to grab the sword. Okay.
So I think Feast and Famine's probably an awesome play here. Reality Smasher is a card that has trample. Swords basically say if I deal damage to a player, I take the effect. So being able to untap my lands through a trampling creature is a huge tempo swing.
Absolutely.
Because
okay.
That actually gives him what he needs, though, to put the Smasher into play.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. He just taps down, plays Smasher, attacks. I would do that. And if they want to path it, go ahead and lose both cards in your hand. I'll take that.
I think it was also really heads up on Ghost to not lead on the Brushland so he can conserve his colorless source in case of like Ghost Border, knowing that he's got the Reality Smasher. So this is interesting.
Yeah, he seems pretty psyched right now.
Yeah, I mean, Smasher is deployed and ready for action.
Yeah, so, that card, yeah. On the recent episode of the Dive Down, we talked about Eldrazi Tron, and Reality Smasher is just a card that is very good. Especially right now, I think. Yeah, like Path, okay, so go ahead and lose the other card in your hand as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 2-for-1. I'm willing to take that, get myself another land.
Yeah.
There's no gas on the mid-range side right now. We've seen Spell Quellers, we've seen Path to Exile, but with one card in hand and you're swinging with the Birds of Paradise, I would like to think that Ghost is probably in an awesome spot here.
Yeah. I mean, there's a world where if they draw an Eldrazi Temple, they get to play Smasher and the Sword. Oh, not quite, but hey.
So something interesting here is if you play the Sword, equip the Sword to the Noble Hierarch, and dome him with the Hierarch, you have pro-green. So you are able to untap your lands and play the Smasher again.
Which we see them doing. Hey, nice call on your part.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. So definitely an interesting line.
Yeah, and so they discard a card too, so they're going, either it's removal or they're going down to 0. That's absolutely brutal.
For sure. I think this is going to be the beginning of the end. So,
I mean, yeah, I feel like once a single sword connects, sort of the tempo shifts pretty wildly to the player that got that sword to connect.
Mm-hmm.
And they held the Vista, so hey, but oof.
Exactly. And you basically get to play the sword for free.
Yeah.
Or you get to play the Reality Smasher for free, or the sword, whatever you want to look at it.
Yeah.
But being able to just stretch your mana, I mean, you just made a 10 mana play on turn 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And is that a rare occasion where we see a Smasher played post-combat?
I would think so, yes, but I think it's a completely safe play knowing that my opponent is pretty much out of cards and out of gas. I need to just keep deploying my threats and applying pressure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think it was a bad play, just interesting that typically they're played because of the haste, but that one is just, oh, hey, by the way, you deal with both of these or you lose.
No, for sure. So going into the post-board plan here, we know that the tryhards are notorious for playing a lot of assorted planeswalkers. I think I'm actually bringing in my Stubborn Denials here because the only cards that beat you are probably cards that grind you out of the game. So I like my Reflector Mages. I like some number of Stubborn Denials. You can consider playing Thalia if you're trying to take aggro plans, but I think Stub is probably better on the draw. Thalia may be better on the play.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that definitely with a deck like this, you want to play a threat and have it connect repeatedly. And Stubborn Denial, as we see in Chris's Death Shadow, is a very good protect the queen strategy. Mm-hmm. So we're going to play a threat, make sure it resolves, make sure it lives, then just keep hitting you with it.
For sure. And I do also like bringing the Thraddus in here, which is another creature that has enough power to turn on the Ferocious out of Stubborn Denial. So being able to just have another enabler, have another grindy threat. If it gets pathed, I still maintain a 3/3, which is bigger than most of the creatures in your deck anyway.
Sure.
But
the question is, what would you cut here? Because I'm looking at it and I'm having a hard time.
So I think it's probably safe knowing that you're playing against a mid-rangey style deck. You can probably afford to cut probably some number of like dorks.
Okay.
So I would like to maybe cut like maybe one Noble Hierarch, maybe a Talisman. The way that I'm really approaching this matchup is I want to remove a lot of the dead air from my deck and keep in more of the gasoline. You can also know that he's probably going to try and attack your mana base. Could maybe shave like a Thought Knot.
Interesting. Okay.
But I like Displacer. I like generating flicker value with Drowner of Hope, with Sky Spawner. I like being able to protect my Stoneforge Mystic, maybe flicker opposing threats that might have swords equipped. Because remember, Eldrazi are devoid. So particularly Displacer's effect, if you have a sword on a creature, it doesn't matter what sword you have. You're always, always, always at the mercy of being able to have your creature flickered.
Absolutely.
And we talked about it a little bit earlier, whoever connects first with the sword is generally going to win this match. So I think being able to kind of protect yourself as well as
I'm alone in the void.
Sooner of a decision here. I would think that the Reflector Mage would almost be a snap-off.
Yeah, it's interesting. Ooh, cutting the Smashers is very interesting to me. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm too high on them, but I feel like they are just such a beating in this matchup.
I'm with you on that one. Maybe Ghost has a little bit more of an expertise with this particular strategy than I do. In my opinion, the reason why decks like Eldrazi Tron, the reason why decks like traditional Tron have always had an advantage against these fair strategies is because your top end is simply that much stronger.
Right, exactly.
So trimming your top end doesn't seem like the best idea here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said up top, the whole thing is you want to get down the Eldrazi so you can stop them before it gets too grindy. But maybe they have a different idea. I would love to hear their thoughts on this at some point, just because it kind of perplexes me.
No, absolutely. I mean, I can understand the logic behind not bringing in the stubs. Maybe you just don't deem the planeswalkers as enough threats.
Sure.
You say, okay, I'm just going to put my creatures in play early, and I'm just going to try and threaten him that way. But not cutting more dead air and trimming your top end doesn't really seem, especially Drowner of Hope. Being able to just tap down boards, being able to just go wide and threaten attacks from other angles.
I totally agree.
But let's see what we're working with here.
Ooh, and that's a turn 2 Stoneforge. What are they grabbing?
If I had to guess in this situation, it's probably safe to just grab a Batterskull.
Revealed zone. Here we go. Come on.
Waiting for it.
Show it to me.
Because your Batterskull goes toe-to-toe with most Eldrazi, too.
No, absolutely.
Being able to just trade away with a Thought Knot Seer is fine. You give yourself a card back. Being able to just get in over the top of Displacer is cool. But
yeah, there you go. Good cold shot there.
But something that's worth noting here, Hurley does play a fair bit of snow interaction in his deck. He does have his Coatls.
Right.
He does have ways to utilize those lands. If he goes one more snow land, probably like Snow Island, and then can flash in Coatl, that Coatl does have Death Touch.
Right.
So something to just note before combat. Maybe you ease up on the attacks. You don't really want to flicker it with the Displacer because you're going to draw him a card every single time.
Yeah, and that quickly. And once we said this is a very grindy matchup, so 2 cards can be the total difference between winning and losing here.
Oh, absolutely. I think Hurley's totally okay saying, all right, every single turn I'm going to draw a card because he has to flicker my blocker.
Right, absolutely. So do you think it would be wise for, if GhostXEmpire is able to draw Stoneforge to grab their own sword to stop from the Quotal nonsense?
So it's not unheard of. Something that I'm curious to see is if he top decks a Stoneforge Mystic, that Stoneforge Mystic comes into play. You have the Exalted, well, not so much relevant anymore now that there's another Noble Hierarch on the field. I was going to say, in the toe-to-toe, your Batterskull is bigger than theirs.
Right.
But it's not unheard of to grab another Feast and Famine and take advantage of your big mana plan. Being able to just go Horizon Canopy, play my Feast and Famine, swing, and then crack my Horizon Canopy to draw a card because now I get the untap. Or even with Gavany Township is a big deal.
But Thought Not take Batterskull seems a little brutal here.
Ooh, that's pretty backbreaking. But let's see. I mean, this deck is known for being able to grind. So we're going to see what we can do on this end.
Yeah, and we'll see what they have in their hand. But Batterskulls just seems so juicy. Tutor it up and then it's mine. Or rather, it's gone forever, right? Exiled. No coming back.
Yeah, can't get that guy back.
Well, hey, put it into play. Never mind. 2 mana open. Never forget.
Seems like a plan for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can always flicker the Germ token. There's live ways to interact with that card.
No, definitely.
Maybe not necessarily on the next turn, but there's the Coatl. Really, Collector Oof.
And Ashiok. There we go. The War Ashiok that prevents people searching their library.
Ashiok's an interesting one here. I like Ashiok if you're on the play because being able to just go turn 2 Ashiok, you can't search. It's pretty nice. It cuts off Stoneforge Mystic. It cuts off Fetch lands. It's just a really obnoxious card to deal with in
exactly.
a 3-color mirror. Collector Oof is interesting. Maybe he likes it specifically for its abilities to attack swords.
Yeah, I mean, it stops Batterskull from equipping too, right? It's similar to Karn in that sense where it's just added utility. I feel like maybe if you just had cards you felt weren't good, there are worse cards you can bring in, right?
Maybe. I could see that. So, Ghost Court of the Gavany Township. That seems completely reasonable.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Does turn on Path to Exile, though, which is interesting. So we know his hand. We know that he doesn't really have a whole lot of interaction here. I think if I'm trying to figure out. So, there's definitely not a world where I trade here.
No.
I think you're okay taking the 5. I don't know if it's correct to necessarily fire off the path at that specific creature.
Yeah, I mean, with no way to deal with Batterskull on your own, I just worry that dealing with the Germ is just a temporary fix, a small band-aid to a big leak.
So something wild here would be if the Collector Roof comes down, I believe... Exactly. Yeah, he's thinking the same thing I'm thinking. The Collector Oof turns off the Batterskull. You can't bounce the Batterskull with the Collector Oof.
Yeah.
So you saw Ghost made a little bit of an interaction there, but then I saw that too. So it's one of those that if he lets the Oof come down, it turns off the Batterskull. But it also turns off your artifacts. But if you don't care about that and you just want to flicker the Germ and just basically blank the Batterskull, that's a completely reasonable line.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, it's worth noting that unlike Karn, the Oof is two-sided, right? And I think that's something that's easy to forget or easy to not realize until it's way too late. So something for all viewers right now, Oof is a double-sided effect.
Yes, that is a very powerful double-sided effect.
Yeah. Artifacts, no go.
But it is nice to see some more symmetrical hate again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
As we've seen, even in just some of the other Modern Horizons cards, like Plague Engineer, non-symmetrical effects, very, very powerful Magic cards.
It can be maybe a little tiny bit good.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
All right, so we have...
Oh, so they're going for the race. Okay, here we go.
So Flicker the Batterskull. That's pretty sweet. So we get in for 5 here. Okay, so we basically trade that life that we just got taken from.
And they got some good blockers up, and there's no way they're getting that Batterskull equipped without some nonsense.
Oh, for sure. But I think the trump card in the matchup is going to be that Eldrazi Displacer. I think if we
yeah.
can't remove that Eldrazi Displacer, being able to just pick and choose, of course, as I say it, but being able to pick and choose the attackers as they come in is a big, big deal.
Yeah. I really look forward to seeing more of that card as Modern progresses. I feel like it was card's always kind of relegated to the sidelines, but I feel like with the re-emergence of Stoneforge, there might be a place for it to shine.
So, ironically enough, a deck that I've been testing for just more personal interest. I like to always try something new, a different strategy that may teach me something. It's always good to just get in the habit of becoming a little bit of a better Magic player.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that Quaddle we talked about.
And we saw it earlier. Oh, but wait a minute. But what if it was actually gone?
Yeah, I think this is a completely reasonable path to exile, though. Maintaining my large creature beats is kind of where I want to be. I can still cast my Thragtusk or my Batterskull. There's not really a world where I feel like I'm in.
Just a little peek behind the curtain, folks.
Always. But that's interesting. So, excuse me, where was I going with that? I lost my track of thought.
I think a Thragtusk post-combat is perfectly cromulent here. I mean, a 5/3 that's gaining life and making stuff is hard to deal with. And, like, they have Path, but then they're using it on that, and that's kind of fine, right? You already got the 5 life.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you're in a situation here where you are the aggressor. You like to always think about, like, okay, who's the beatdown? In this scenario, Ghost is by far the beatdown, presenting 2 huge threats, must-answer threats. You're looking at a 2-turn clock right here, potentially 3-turn if we could somehow stall this attack a little bit. I think we're probably looking for Path to Exile or a way to remove that Thought-Knots here.
Absolutely. So a quick question for you about Ghost deck. Do you think that the blue splash is worth it over just green-white?
So I've seen the green-white Eldrazi that just recently had a little bit of success this weekend. Right. My take on it has always been the blue splash gives you better interaction against combo. Being able to have hard counter magic post-board is a huge deal. Absolutely. I think the green-white version is much better in a mid-range mirror, being able to attack kind of the front of consistently presenting threats, churning through my deck, being able to put cards to the board and say, beat me. But I think your resiliency against combo, or being able to just hit big planeswalkers, being able to hit Tron cards as they're coming down, sometimes buying yourself the turn with the Stubborn Denial is all you need to win with this deck.
That's fair. That's definitely fair.
So, and I also think, I mean, you're seeing it in the chat a little bit too, the difference between Karn and Drowner of Hope. Right. And it goes back to what we were saying, is that Karn is a combo way to win the game. That Karn is excellent at shutting down opposing combo, especially you're seeing a lot with the Urza combo.
Exactly.
But I think that particular strategy is very linear at shutting down specifically artifact base. Whereas this deck gives you a little bit more against spell-based combo. So you're seeing resiliency against Storm, resiliency against Tron, resiliency ad nauseum. All of these different decks that are going to be notorious for kind of preying on Eldrazi-based strategies.
Oh, so do you think that ad nauseum is posed for a comeback? Because I feel like it's sort of been relegated to maybe tier 2.5 or 3, where it's definitely competitive, but maybe a little more fringe in other strategies.
So I have a lot of friends that really like that ad nauseum deck, and they're probably going to dislike me for saying this. Ad nauseum, in my opinion, has been an awesome combo deck to play, but that deck is always going to be at the mercy of a few different things now. You're seeing Force of Negation become a routine problem for that card, or for that deck now, and also 3 mana Teferi is extremely potent against them. The way that ad nauseum has always been poised was to go after all of these decks that are, okay, you'll cast your spells, your creatures aren't really relevant, I have a million ways to keep myself alive, and then I go off when I want to go off at instant speed.
Absolutely.
Now you're seeing more fair decks. Thoughtseize is making a resurgence into the format with Jund. Assassin's Trophy is becoming more and more prevalent. You're seeing 3 mana Teferi out of every Stoneforge deck, every Bant mid-range deck, and also every control deck.
Sure.
Very difficult to try and fight with something like that.
Absolutely, not even a question. So here we see the Batterskull coming into play from GhostXEmpire. This game's getting real grindy real quick.
Hey, grindy is where I think I want to be with this Bant mid-range deck, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being able to stem the Eldrazi's kind of onslaught of just huge creatures, is going to be a big turning point. But this Batterskull is just, a recurring threat that's going to consistently apply pressure. I don't really know how anybody really beats this board state. I mean, with no effective board wipes,
Right. And we saw earlier the Gavany Township, and now that is gone. So I'm not sure how they're going to be able to bulk up past this.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. But we shall see. Maybe potentially equipping this Batterskull to the Stoneforge Mystic, just giving it a fat body might be the way to go.
Yeah. Oh,
Bounce the Batterskull. Yep.
Yeah.
Now the question is, what is that going to do for you?
Yes, I'm confused as well. Because they seem like they're dead to rights here, right?
I don't see a world where this wins you the game. I mean, maybe you have... Is there like a Spell the Wreckage in this deck? Like, how do you turn the corner here? Maybe a Path to Exile off the top. You could see... Maybe you activate Stoneforge and have, like, Coatl plus Path. Right. Is a way to kind of get this, but you're asking a lot out of this deck.
Yeah, I mean, they got a group of 4 cards, right? And it's not like... Well, Ancient Strength gets around gets around Ashiok real nice, so, hey.
Yes. That's actually what he's peeking at here. Which is nice.
I'm not searching, I'm just looking, okay? And it's different in Magic parlance.
I think I take the EE here.
Triple Temple? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a whiff. I mean, I think if I'm him, I take the EE and I play the EE on 2. The only way you get beat here is by a block of Stoneforge Mystic and Icefang Coatl. I think just playing the EE on 2 is a safe bet.
Would you do it and crack it pre-combat as well then?
No, I think what I do is I play the EE and I hold and I see if he flashes something in. I think at this point your board state's better. You still have a Stoneforge Mystic of your own.
Sure.
But being able to get the 2-for-1 on a blocker is probably a huge deal.
Absolutely.
Because at this point, I mean, I'm sure that's probably what Ghost is thinking to himself is, how do I lose here?
Right. Like, what outs does my opponent have here, and how good are they, and how conservative should I be with my attacking?
Exactly, because you do have to be able to beat the Batterskull. So you know that Batterskull is probably going to be at minimum 8 life. EE for 0. Okay, to blow up the germ token?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
That hurts your own germ.
Yes, it does. The double-edged sword of engineered explosives. Ooh. Okay.
But Winds of Abandon, I believe, is sorcery speed. If I am correct here. I'm going to take a peek at that myself. Open up my Gatherer. But
we see a really conservative attack here, and I don't know if that is the way I would go. You're at 18 life. You don't have too much to worry about in the crackback.
No, but we do. I mean, thinking about that Winds of Abandon, being able to just untap and slam it and remove basically every creature from your opponent's board. I mean, that's a one-sided blowout. That's a huge deal.
Right, and that's what you need right here. That's literally the out that they have, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to survive 1 turn. You're not blocking with the Noble, yeah, so... Batterskull block. So Batterskull blocks Thragtusk. I think not swinging with the Thought-Knots here was a mistake.
I agree. I was confused by that move as well.
I think that pushes lethal, and that was a big no-no. Especially knowing that he had to use the Noble Hierarch to activate the Stoneforge Mystic.
Absolutely. Oh, and there's their own Gavany Township, and like we said, that's going to be the Mirror Breaker.
Oh, for sure. So that's going to be very interesting here. I'm curious to see what happens. So I think knowing that Hurley has Winds of Abandon, I think I might be bringing in 1 or 2 stubs in the next game. I know that you're playing to the board, but if that's the only card that really beats you and you get so far ahead like this...
Yeah, well, it's fun that Batterskull activates the Ferocious on Summoner Denial too, right?
It's definitely something sweet. I didn't even think about that. That's a nice piece.
Yeah, so. Activate Stoneforge, put it into play. It's WDU. How's it going? My name's Zach.
Basically. So you got to also remember, like, I'm a little bit more biased. I play a lot more control, so counter spells are kind of more up my alley.
Yeah,
maybe absolutely. I'm just wrong. I mean, that might just be the case. But
I don't know. It feels correct to me. And I am a mono red player, so hey.
There you go. So let's see what we're working with here. Moving into combat again. I mean, we're just jamming, and we're gonna try and fight the Exalted. I think you're just swinging with everything, man.
Yeah, I don't know why he's playing it so conservatively. Is he worried about a Settle the Wreckage? Because they can see deck list.
I don't know. I think he's more worried about like Coatl or something like that. But I think you're putting yourself in a circumstance here. The more time you give your mid-range opponent, the more time he's going to have to draw out of it.
Absolutely,
you cannot give him opportunities to win this game.
And I feel like I'm just being presented with giving someone so many opportunities. Yeah. I mean, are they just brutal?
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, go to 28. Why not?
Yeah.
What's he going to name it? Is he going to be spicy with it or be safe with it?
I mean, you're not really getting anything countered here. I don't see a world where you're trying to make colors. You
Name Dragon. Name Dragon.
Yeah, basically. You might as well. Send a message.
Yeah.
Assert dominance.
This is what I am about.
Let's see. What do we got here? Yeah, I think that this is a huge mistake, letting your opponent just come back into this game like this. I mean, if he top decks a sword, there can be a problem. There's a lot of weird things that just go around here.
Right, absolutely.
I'm trying to think what swords he's got in his list. Let's pull that up over here. So we're working with a Batter Skull. We have a Fire and Ice out of the board. That can be pretty nasty.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that card generates so much value, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
just 2-for-1ing everywhere.
If you throw the Fire and Ice on the Batter Skull, you're in great shape. Is that what we're seeing right here?
My germ is both in this Batter Skull, and it is also wielding a sword.
Oh, there's the Feast and Famine. Okay, I didn't see that in the deck list.
That's brutal. Yeah, I mean, what, you got this is just, this is brutal to watch. They got to block with Thought Knot or Stoneforge Mystic. This is no good.
The big concern here is the discard and the untap is not a super big deal unless you're concerned with Gavany Township. Being able to untap my Gavany Township is going to be huge here. It just lets you outgrind.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, right? Like we said, like the mirror breaker here is once it gets into grind mode, which apparently we are in right now, Gavany Township is going to be able to pump you past your opponent.
Exactly. And I think this is basically what we're seeing here.
Ooh, whoa, there we go.
Ooh. All right, I guess nobody's using artifacts this game.
Yeah. My germ is very big, it's very strong, and we are going to attack. Wow.
Something that's actually going to be super interesting is if we can find a Eldrazi Displacer off the top.
Right.
You would basically be able to shut down, let's see, how many colorless sources? We have 3 colorless sources, so that's 3, 6, and we have the other land in hand.
Ooh, but a land off the top is so brutal, so punished right now.
No, for sure. I think that that's kind of what we're looking for, is we want the Eldrazi Displacer to be able to control the board and also keep the counters on the opposing creatures down.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're at a point where, no, don't attack. I don't think you want to make that trade.
Oh, no. They realized too late that they should have swung, and now it's sort of like when you backlog a printer and it all prints out at once.
I mean, swinging there, I don't even think I block. I think I take the 6 and then just swing again.
Oh, no. Okay.
Nah, I think you keep the oof on board.
Yeah.
Because the only way you get beat is like throw the Batter Skull on top of the Thought Knot or throw the Batter Skull on top of the Beast token. Because that's how you make it bigger.
Yeah, because they can't block the germ here, right? Because it's pro-black and pro-green, which is exactly what their board state is. So they're getting in for that, yeah. And yeah, sure, why not? They got them at 16 cards in their library, and the Eldrazi Displacer gets milled. Oh, exiled rather. Oh,
yikes.
No. Oh, no.
So something I am a little bit confused in as to why we haven't swung with the Spell Queller. I mean, unless we're really concerned about getting beat on the crackback, but I think the Spell Queller is a free 2 points of damage every single turn. And you end up forcing your opponent to interact with you rather than just kind of riding it out. I mean, it's...
I think they're just so far ahead right now, especially with the sword and the skull and the germ, that I think it sort of makes sense to just play it safe, because what can Ghost do at this point, honestly? Mm-hmm. This is... The grind fest begins. Modern 2019, everybody.
Hey, I mean, this is where I want to be, right?
No, ain't that the truth? Hey, preach,
I think it's safe to assume that I want my Gatekeeper of the format to be a deck like Jund, to be a deck like Grixis Delver.
Absolutely.
Than be a deck like Dredge or Hogak.
Yeah, no, totally. On the episode coming out on Friday, one of my co-hosts made a very interesting point that Modern previously, before the ban of Hogak, felt like games could be over by turn 2. Even if the game wasn't actually over, you felt like by turn 2, you were kind of done. Like you couldn't make any more decisions, right?
Yes.
And here, there's plenty of decisions, right? We've seen so many decision trees, so many different options, and like it's turn 11 right now, and the game's still going on.
Oh, I mean, this game is probably far from over. And I think this match is far from over because now you're seeing the stabilization of the board. I do think, however, that Gavany Township is going to run away with this game if left unchecked.
Oh, yeah, I mean, absolutely.
So that's going to be a big concern, especially with being able to use it twice a turn.
Right, yeah. Pre-combat, post-combat, the townspeople come out and just give my creatures gifts. They love them so much.
No, absolutely. This is definitely a sweet, sweet matchup, though. I would like to see a game 3 if possible because this has been just a clinic by two strong mid-range players. Right. We saw in the last season, Hurley was big on playing Jund. He actually included his own tech of Harsh Mentor. So just different strategies and ways to approach the game. I've always been a big fan of Fair Magic. I have some friends that have been a fan of Not So Fair Magic. So,
well, like ad nauseum, you mean?
Oh, yeah. Ad nauseum. So I have a couple of good friends that basically introduced me to the game of Magic, really. I have a good friend, I want to give him a shout out. Kyle Fitzsimmons has been pretty notorious on the SCG tour recently for playing Legacy Ad Nauseum Tendrils, as well as playing Modern Ad Nauseum. And these are guys that have always kind of taught me the game, introduced me to the format ever since I was a kid. I mean, a teenager. And they've always been big fans of just getting people involved with Modern. And I think that this is probably the healthiest Modern's been in a long time.
Absolutely, not even a question. So yeah, we see the trade here for 2 Thought-Knots. I mean, that seemed like a risky swing, but 2 Thought-Knots gone, 2 cards drawn. But I mean, here we see the life total is becoming a little more level with 12 and 17. I believe at one point it was 27 and 6. So
yes, I do think we have to take that trade though. The biggest reason is you at least blank the Batterskull and blank the Feast and Famine.
Yeah,
this collector oof, ironically enough, what we thought was going to be pretty much the bane for the opponent has become the bane for ourselves.
Right.
We were looking to play around it and say, haha, look, your collector roof blanked your own artifacts. Meanwhile, we just drew a dead artifact off the top and we can't do anything with our Batterskull.
Yeah, and we're just going to see more consistent township activations, and it's going to, and obviously, in addition to the Night of the Reliquary activations, oh, and there we go. I mean, it's just, this is going to get real big real quick, and they have the 1 life gain. Oh, wow. Hey.
I believe that this is probably the end of this match here. I mean, if he blocks 1 with both nobles, you take 4 in the air. I mean, you can't really do much on the crackback because your collector roof is still bigger than your germ token.
Exactly. And it's about, we got a 5/5 and a 4/5 over here. Oof.
Ooh, boy.
Seems good to me. Should have shocked that into show dominance.
No, absolutely. Send a message.
Yeah.
Send the message. So, no, but this has been awesome. I don't appreciate, however, the mix of Snowlands we have. We have some full arts over there, and we also have some non-full arts. What are we doing on that side of the table?
Well, also about sending a message, right? That I no longer care, and you
I don't care about anything except my forests. That's the only message I'm seeing here. My forests are the only important land in my whole deck.
Yeah. Yeah, once again, it seemed like Ghost had that one tied up and maybe was a little too cautious on the swing in and really paid for it in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So we see them thinking about maybe bringing in their collector oofs, and once again, I think maybe 2 Stubborn Denials where I'd want to be. Whoa, they're just gonna bring it back. They're just gonna run it back.
Giving it the salty runbacks.
All right.
But I do want to point out, you saw the Drowner of Hopes come back in.
Right.
I think that taking Drowner of Hope to begin with was a mistake because on a board stall like that, Drowner of Hope locks up your entire opponent's creature base.
Ain't that the truth?
So we shall see.
Time will tell.
Going into game 3, being on the play here, do you think, and this is just a simple question, do you think it might be advantageous to potentially take a draw in the mid-range mirror?
I feel like that this is a good thought exercise. I feel like it's really not, just because you want to be as much as you can on... Because there's just so much answers and so much threats in here that I feel like trying to get the drop on your opponent isn't that helpful, especially when you have the mana acceleration,
Mhm.
that parity isn't actually going to get you there. I honestly feel like maybe the only match where you want to be on the draw is like the 8-rack mirror at this point in Modern.
Okay, so actually, what I was thinking is very similar to your line of reasoning. I do like being on the play specifically in this matchup because sticking the sword first, sticking the first, like, huge Stoneforge Mystic is a big deal in this matchup.
Right, absolutely.
Noble Hierarch becomes a lot better when you're on the play because I have 3 mana versus my opponent's 1. There's a lot of ways to just take advantage of that tempo swing. I think if we saw that my opponent was maybe on, like, Jund, I might consider taking a draw here, just because, all right, my opponent is going to consistently try and attack my hand and beat me via cards.
Sure.
But it's just something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it's different when you have things like Stoneforge and Thought-Knot Seer that are essentially 2-for-1ing, or, hey, this resolved and I kind of got the value that I not needed, but enough to make it worth it, right? As opposed to slamming a threat that is, okay, your turn now. Oh, it died. I wasted my turn.
So you're seeing right here, this is a huge deal, being able to just play on curve, the advantage of taking the play.
Yeah,
being able to slam my Thought-Knot and take your Batterskull.
Ooh, and we see a Unified Will in their hand. That's a card to watch out for.
Yes, but it's also another big tempo card. Being able to stay ahead of my opponent, maintain more creatures than my opponent. I don't really have to worry about the Unified Will.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Are we considering taking the Ashiok?
Interesting.
I think the Ashiok might be a dead card here.
Yeah, I'm confused as to why. Because is it that they're worried about the game getting so grindy that milling them out's an actual strategy?
I think he may have considered it for the sole reason. He might have just been reading it because he wanted to see if it affected his own as well.
Sure.
Saying, okay, if I use my Displacer to potentially blink the Stoneforge, can I stop him from searching for some form of like equipment?
I see.
But I think taking the path is huge here. Displacer, we talked about a little bit earlier, is one of the strongest cards in the matchup. Being able to routinely just flicker and keep my opponent from really doing much of anything is a huge tempo play.
Yeah, and I really want to reiterate to people that are watching this that Eldrazi Displacer is devoid, so it's colorless. So there'll be a time where you think you're safe because you have pro-white, and that card has a white mana symbol, but is certainly not white.
Oh, you are very much correct there.
I feel like even though I'm saying this, I'm going to play my LGS and get blown out by it and go, no, it's white. No, man, devoid. Oh, okay.
So we were talking about it a little bit earlier, and you were saying that that's a card that you believe is pretty much underutilized in Modern as a format.
Absolutely.
And now I remembered what I was thinking is currently right now I'm testing a lot of the different Taxes style decks. So you're seeing a perfect example is this deck here. You're seeing a lot of 3-color mid-range strategies. You're seeing a lot of 3-color controls. We do have one particular deck in the league that's a Death and Taxes deck, but I think cards like Leonin Arbiter, being able to control the board with Flicker Wisp and Eldrazi Displacer, Big Thalia as well as Little Thalia, first striking creatures, taking over the mid game is a huge advantage, and those are the decks that do it best. So definitely keep on the lookout for decks like those as well.
How do you feel about Leonin Arbiter right now?
So that's a card that I've actually been pretty high on recently. I think Leonin Arbiter previously would be considered a meme, right? Everyone would look at it and say Leonin Arbiter is one of those cards that doesn't do enough. And the reason being is every time you play it, it's a lightning rod. It immediately gets hit by the Terminate, the Fatal Push, the Lightning Bolt, the Path to Exile. Whatever the premium removal spell of the time is, that's what's happening. But now you're seeing a new addition from Modern Horizons in Giver of Runes. And Giver of Runes, even though it's not Mother of Runes, it's definitely not Mother of Runes, but being able to protect a threat like Stoneforge Mystic, like Leonin Arbiter consistently is a huge upside. You don't have to worry about like playing and holding up force backup. This isn't Legacy where you can play your 2-drop and hold up Daze. So that's a card that I think you're probably going to see a big breakout this weekend of with all the Stoneforge Mystic strategies, because it's made Leonin Arbiter fantastic in my deck, and as a routine way to protect it is the lights out.
Absolutely. So we see them here going for path to what? Cut off Unified Will access?
I'm honestly not 100% sure. I think it might just be because you don't want to flicker that card. That's not a card that
like we said,
see.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think it's probably just one of the ways that we're saying, all right, I'm going to concede to the fact that your creatures are just slightly more value-oriented than mine. The Eldrazi are just kind of like big idiots that they just swing in, they block, they do whatever they need to do, but they're more body-centric, whereas the other creatures have they have more text to them, is how I like to look at it. Like having Death Touch, having Flying, having Trample.
A whole lot of words on there.
Exactly. You're basically playing keyword soup.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? So, here we see it sort of about to get into real grind mode. We do see Ghost with the Gavany Township in hand, and they can play that and activate it, but things about to get real rough over here.
Yeah, I think that we're kind of in a spot here where even if we have the Gavany, I think we're consistently, wow, talk about the big boy.
There we go.
I mean, this is what we talked about. This is what we lacked in game 1, game 2. We needed the Drowner. The Drowner is how we're going to approach this format. We're going to probably swing in here with our displace or with our excuse me, sorry, I lost a little bit of connection there. So, are you hearing me all right on your end?
I'm hearing you all right, just fine.
Perfect, just making sure.
Yeah, of
so,
course.
But this is what we were lacking in game 2 is the ability to just gunk up the board, slow down my opponent's creatures. I'm actually surprised that we decided to flicker the Knight there. I think it might have been a stronger play to potentially play Drowner and use one of the tokens to flicker the Knight.
They're worried about Unified Will, though, right?
I guess we can consider that, but with the Unified Will in hand, I mean, it's just going to sit there, and I guess we're probably just leaving it to rot at this point, but we need to apply more pressure to the board, and I think getting it to spend the mana, you're basically getting the same effect regardless.
Right. I mean, is the play, do something like equip Batterskull, put down Oof? No, that can't be right, because you got to hold the Will. This is hard.
We're still able... Oh, I see why he made this play. Okay, now I'm understanding. So, the reason why we didn't play the Drowner is so we can double flicker.
Ah, I see.
So we can flicker on the end step, and then go to our turn and flicker another creature.
Right.
Because we only need to connect once. We know 3 cards in the hand. We know Oof, Ashiok, and Unified Will.
Absolutely.
I'm not quite sure how he's going to get out of this one.
Yeah, 3 cards in hand. We know them all. None of those are outs to what we're doing.
Yeah, that's looking like it.
Yeah. I mean, let's hope they swing. Let's hope they realize it this time, but I think it's probably going to be game.
I think there's not a world. Yeah, he's looking 3 cards in hand, 3 cards there. Can't put the Batterskull, just flicker the creatures and get in there.
Yeah, I mean, you have the 3 flickers, right? Yeah, you have access to do it, and you're swinging for a sweet 7, and they're at 5. That seems like lethal.
Yeah. Or, I mean, you could bounce the skull and then put it into play, but that doesn't do anything. You just flicker that too.
No.
It's like what you have to do is you flicker the Stoneforge, then you flicker this is weird. This is super weird.
Yeah. I don't know what was the plan there.
I don't necessarily know either. I think what we should have done is flicker the Stoneforge on the end step. This way it blinks the Batterskull on the next turn. And then you flicker Batterskull token, flicker Knight of the Reliquary, and then swing in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's very hard for them to come back still, but that was a little bit of a misstep.
Yeah, I mean, you're going down on 2 cards here. This is tricky. And then now you're also opening up a window to stick the Drowner.
Hey, okay. Right. Yeah, they don't have Unified Will up anymore.
Yeah, that should be the nail in the coffin. I mean, there is the Holy Grail. If you draw off the top of the deck, you draw up. Wait, what? He didn't even want to take the draw step to try and play the Winds of Abandon. Okay.
Doesn't seem like it.
Nope.
All right, we've seen enough. All right, going to our next match. That was definitely an interesting one there. We saw
very grindy.
It's possible inside in wins, but I highly doubt that.
That just seems kind of off the wall. I think against an Eldrazi strategy, you definitely want as much removal as possible.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Listen, maybe you had enough. It's a grindy match. Sometimes it gets the best of you. So,
40 minutes, maybe you had to go take a leak. Who knows? Hey,
happens to the best of us. So, I mean, I'm thinking this next one coming up might be a grindy one as well. We're looking at Ryan Steiner, captain of Gamers and Geeks, playing some Urza Skull versus PuntThenWhine playing Humans. So this is definitely going to be a super interesting match. A little bit grindy. You're seeing kind of the tried and true strategy, the combo breaker in humans, playing against the new kid on the block, the new combo deck, Urza, with a little bit of Stoneforge Mystic. So I definitely think that we're going to be in some spicy, spicy shape there.
I really like the looks of Urza with Stoneforge Mystic.
Isn't that the truth?
It just looks so spicy. Like, it's such a fun deck. I'm excited to see it play out. I hope PuntThenWhine takes this. Not only because that would put Team Ice to 5 wins, which guarantees that at worst we tie, but also because I really just want to see Punt win. He has had some terrible luck in Season 1. There's a couple matches where I was watching him on Amulet, and he just I knew if he just drew a bounce land, he won the game. And he would Ancient Stirrings, not hit a bounce land, not hit a bounce land off a draw, not hit a bounce land off a draw, die. And I'd be like, oh, I don't even want to do the math. I don't even want to do the math of how unlucky you were right there. But And I saw that happen a couple times, and I was like, he's such a great player. You know, he won the Modern Challenge recently, so it just he's going to get there. He's going to get there.
You have definitely 2 strong players. I'm looking forward to this next match. I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. If you're looking for digital cards online, take a look at Card Hoarder. They have pretty much every card you would ever need. They even have them in foil. So for those of you who are interested in those, take a look at that. Do also want to give a shout out to Card Kingdom. They take care of us with all of their paper needs. You can check them out for any singles or accessories you may need, maybe some sealed product. Check out our new Throne of Eldraine pre-release packages coming up, because you're definitely going to see some pre-orders with that in the upcoming future. So, without further ado, unless you guys have anything else, we can definitely proceed to our next break.
Sounds great.
Welcome back to the Forecast of Doom. We have PuntThenWhine on humans, and we have VizQuiz on Urza Skull, which is a Urza combo deck featuring Stoneforge Mystic and Batter Skull. PuntThenWhine is an uphill battle here, I think, to face down, because not only does this deck have Stoneforge Mystic, which is designed to beat down aggro decks, but also a game-ending combo that PuntThenWhine doesn't have any real answers to mainboard, aside from Meddling Mage and maybe Kitesail Freebooter. The combo cards VizQuiz is looking to assemble is the Sword Thopter combo, as well as using Urza to basically draw your whole deck, get infinite mana, infinite life. It's infinite Thopters. It just, PuntThenWhine cannot win through that. However, he can have a fast enough draw, use Thalia's attacks, and just kind of take over a game to win. That's how I project Game 1 to be. If VizQuiz gets Ensnaring Bridge down, it's going to be very, very difficult for PuntThenWhine. Postboard, PuntThenWhine does have Deputy of the Tensions, Knight of Autumns, and maybe even Gaddock Teague or an Izzet Staticaster to help out late game. Now, VizQuiz has plenty of other cards, Fatal Pushes, things like that, to really, really slow down this human's opponent. The longer the game goes, the more likely Urza Skull is going to win. I think Urza Skull is favored in this matchup. That's my forecast. Let's see how it all plays out.
Right, and we're off.
Here we are.
This is definitely, it's not the fastest hand that we can see out of humans, but it's definitely an interactive hand that it might be strong enough to win this matchup here.
Yeah, I mean, you have perfect mana for the most part, right? And that's a big part of this deck.
I think I would like to at least see like a Noble Hierarch, though. And if not a Noble Hierarch, like an Aether Vial. The hand plays, though. It's definitely keepable.
Sure.
But I think, yeah, exactly. Punt's kind of looking at the same thing I am, is where we ship this, we have enough hands that we can win off of 6.
Ooh, back-to-back no landers is brutal.
To be fair, going to 4, this is not the worst.
Oh, yeah, you
ship
can do
the
worse.
Reflector Mage, we keep 2 lands, Champion, Meddling Mage.
Right, but does it feel like maybe that original 7 was a better keep than this? I know shoulda, woulda, coulda, easier in hindsight, but...
oh, excuse me. Pardon me. So, playing out that initial hand, I think there's so many better 6s that you can have with the amount of 1-drops in this deck that I think it might be safe to mulligan.
Absolutely. So we did an episode on humans not so long ago, and I do agree that the 1-drops are super important, but would you mull to 4 for a 1-drop like that?
Mulling to 4, no, but I do think he didn't have a decision there.
Sure,
I think it
fair
was one
enough.
of those that, like, if I see 1 land Vial or 1 land Noble, I snap keep that.
Yeah,
Like,
no
this
question.
Pyrite Spellbomb is just going to be backbreaking because being able to axe the Meddling Mage directly off the board.
Yeah. And we know they're on Urza, and Urza is definitely a deck that you need to go fast against, because the longer the game goes, the more likely that they're going to just lock you up in their little Urza prison.
For sure. So the interesting part about this particular match now, right? So the initial hand would have been great against combo. The initial hand is very powerful at attacking the combo side, the Urza Thopter Sword combo style strategy of the deck. Ryan's deck is a little bit spicy with the new unbanning. You're able to take advantage of a Stoneforge Mystic line. Stoneforge Mystic against that opening hand wins on the spot.
Sure.
I think being able to just constantly just gain 4 life a turn, just beat in, changes the dynamic of the matchup so much that that might be a safe mulligan.
Definitely. I think you raised a good point where I was thinking more of just, is this good? Is this going to curve out? And yes, but you also need to be aware what the opponent's doing, right? So because you curve out and play solitaire by yourself isn't the same as your opponent going, okay, well, I have Urza and I win on turn 3, where it's, oh, okay, well, I lose now then.
For sure. So I think this goes back to, we talked about it a little bit earlier, who's the beatdown? In this matchup, I think we look at a deck like Punt, we look at humans as a whole, and in most matchups, especially this one, humans is always going to be the beater. You're asking all the questions and you're forcing your opponent to answer them.
Sure.
Ryan's deck seems to be a little bit more interactive. You're playing Pyrite Spellbomb. You're playing different ways to trap the opponent and prison style lock them, per se, with Ensnaring Bridge, Thopter Sword. Even Urza kind of gums up the board with his tokens a little bit. He's also a big body.
Absolutely.
So I think the way that we need to think from Punt's line here is we want to get in under the combo strategy.
Sure.
And if we can effectively break that up and get in under them, we can win.
So if you're playing Meddling Mage here, what are you naming?
So this is actually tricky. Knowing
Super
the deck
tricky,
list,
yeah.
I think I name Whir of Invention.
Okay.
Solely because if he has the 1 Ensnaring Bridge, God bless him. But
and they name Urza,
Urza.
Lord. Okay. I think it's Snaring Bridge. I think I agree with you with Whir, just because that is the out in so many scenarios because it gets exactly what you need. But naming Urza is just very bold. I feel like that's not bad either. That's not a bad second one, but we'll see if that pays off, right? That's the whole
This
thing
might be a desperation meddling mage solely because he says, I can't beat Urza off Urza sticks.
Yeah. And like what? Because Urza is going to make a 4/4 if they come down at this point?
And he himself, I believe, is a 1/4 body, right?
Yeah. Seems a little good.
So, and then it's also just a grindy card. Every turn you're playing another card off the top of your library.
Right.
So there's so many ways for him to just kind of take the game over. And you turn literally every artifact.
So they have the Urza. It was the right call, but it don't even matter. Oh,
yeah, but the problem is that Opal's dead now.
Oh, hey, fair enough.
That's something that's interesting. I mean, do we have like maybe a Mishra's Bauble? Something to potentially kind of turn the tide a little bit?
Acre Wellspring, perhaps?
Maybe.
Oh, no.
This might be no, I can't even Whir. Wow. Just
and you can't cast Mana Strider. Oof.
I
mean, Lieutenant, not too bad, but Mana Strider would have been very clutch in this moment.
No, for sure.
I mean, yeah, this matchup seems kind of brutal for humans, where you just have to go fast and have to get them, because once again, the second they get Ensnaring Bridge, second they get all those lock pieces down, it's very hard for humans to break out of that, right?
Yeah, so you're seeing a lot of these like Urza decks start to take on what used to be the old Lantern control shell, where you're seeing a lot of like Whir plus Bridge, Whir plus Cage, Whir plus occasional Witchbane Orb, like all these different strategies to attack the format. And now, there's the Urza.
And then Metalcraft activated as they have 3 artifacts.
Yep, so we can spin 3. What would really be backbreaking is just slam the bridge too, and just slam the door shut.
Oh my goodness. Tap 3 for the bridge? No, don't hurt him. Hammer, don't hurt him.
What is this, Dr. Foundry?
Oh, well, I mean, hey.
That's pretty much the game on the spot too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's interesting that humans is missing like a Rex Sage effect, right? Where they can blow up enchantments and artifacts. So you're left with the Kitesail Freebooter as your interaction.
So you're seeing a fair bit of different ways to attack the format. It used to be Rex Sage, then it became Deputy of Detention.
Sure.
Then it became Anafenza when people realized the only cards they were really trying to remove were like all of these like graveyard recurring threats. So I'm curious to see. I have to take a look at Punt's list and really see kind of how we're attacking this metagame. So bear with me one sec. So we're looking at 2 Deputies post-board, 2 Knight of Autumns.
Okay,
so
okay.
That's how we're going to be attacking this metagame post-board. Pre-board, though, if that Ensnaring Bridge sticks, there's really not much we can do about it. I think, like, Phantasmal Image, get Urza isn't even, like, enough to win the game.
No, and like you can hope that they brick on cards and draw up to like 2 or 3, but that's a low percentage chance and not a good way to win the game.
Exactly, and it's important to remember that Urza goes infinite without really casting anything per se.
Ain't that the truth?
You can just go Meddling Mage, name Sword of the Meek, and it doesn't even matter because it goes to the graveyard with the Goblin Welders. You're able to constantly Goblin Engineers, and then bring them back.
Exactly. Yeah, Worse is real good at just getting around your locks because they can get stuff out of the graveyard, they can war for things, they have so many other ways of getting their pieces that it just sort of doesn't matter.
So it was actually funny. I was watching the stream. I don't get to watch a whole lot of coverage anymore as I used to because I've been like so heavily invested in work.
Sure,
but absolutely. I was listening to Harlan Furr discuss basically why this deck is so good and the power level of this deck. And he was basically going into, okay, this deck is twin. And you saw Nick Miller kind of look at him and
a little bit.
What do you mean this is twin? And his logic was spot on. It's a grindy strategy with a combo finish. You have so many people that focus on just Thopter Sword combo, Thopter Sword combo, Thopter Sword combo, that getting beat down with construct tokens is very real.
Ooh, and here we see the concession to Whir, like we just mentioned.
There it is. All right, so we're going to bring in our Deputies. I can see Dismembers for the Urzas. That's realistic. We'll bring in our Knight of Autumns as well.
Yeah, it's just, like you mentioned, that Urza has these 2 different lines, and they also have the Stoneforge package, which creates sort of a 3rd line. So Urza has these 3 paths to beat you down with, and if one's not working, they just change their lane. So it feels like a very good deck that can attack from so many different angles that it's it feels almost impossible to try to nail it down on one.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think it's correct to not bring in the Gaddock here?
I don't. I think it's a really good call because whir will often be 4+, right? Because you're not whirring for just one, you're whirring for two often, and that's going to make it beyond what...
Gaddock says that you can't even cast non-creature spells with CMCX. So
oh, yeah,
it
totally
blanks whir completely. So you're able to turn off like even whir for like Spellbomb or whir for Sword. Like there are so many situations where Gaddock just straight up closes out these whir decks.
Yeah, that's confusing to me. I mean, that's what you have it in there for, right? It's for Tron and decks like this. I would bring it in unquestionably. Because once again, the whole thing is the deck can get around your little locks and your little ways to pin it because it has War, because it has Engineer, because it has all these other outs. So if you could start cutting them off, you can then pin them down the correct way or pin them down in a way where they can't get out of it.
Yeah, so looking also at Ryan's list, I just want to double check because I don't believe he has many effects outside of like Batterskull that are 4 CMC or higher. So really you're blanking the 3 whirs in his deck. In my opinion, it's justified. I think in bringing in the Gaddock solely on the idea of just stopping whir, because the big card that beats you is Ensnaring Bridge.
Absolutely.
We can fight through Thopter Sword. We can definitely churn through because it requires mana. And if you're keeping in Dismembers and Reflector Mage to try and fight that, I think it's justified in kind of bringing in the Gaddock to at least hose the whir strategy.
No, I totally agree. Do you think humans might consider running Collector Oof in the future?
So we've actually seen humans begin running it.
Okay.
I think it's definitely an honest card. I'm not 100% sure if we want it in this particular metagame, particularly because these Urza decks, although they're powerful, are not currently numerous. They're about 5% of the metagame.
Right.
And I think cards like Knight of Autumn offer more flexibility out of the board.
I have no question.
Exactly. In an open metagame like Modern, especially a week 1 Modern metagame, people weren't really sure what we're going to see. You're not really sure if you're going to see creature strategies. You're not sure if Jun's going to be dominant. You're not sure if Tron's going to be the deck to beat. So having a card like Knight of Autumn, which can snipe Expedition maps, can snipe Thopter Foundries, but can also gain life against Burn, can become bigger than a Tarmogoyf. Like these are the, I'm trying to think, the prized ponies.
No, sure, yeah.
Having
cards that have multiple modes, like that's why a Braid is good, right? Because sometimes you take an artifact, sometimes you take a creature. It's things like that because your sideboard's only 15 cards, but it's somehow the most important part of the deck sometimes. All right, so we see a better start for humans here at least.
Oh, much better. I mean, we definitely have more than 4 cards in our hand, so that's a huge deal.
Cards in hand above 4, thumbs up.
I'm on board with it.
Yeah.
So we're going to play our Noble Hierarch, then we're going to lead into Champion plus. The option is play Lieutenant to try and put the Champion out of Spellbomb range.
Ooh, but are they going to play Meddling Mage?
It's not unheard of.
Ooh, okay. What do you name here? I mean...
That's a tricky blind name.
Yeah.
I want to say we're probably really Fatal Push. Okay, hold on. Let me look at these deck lists again. This is where decks like Humans, decks like Control really benefit from open deck lists because you kind of know how your opponent's looking to hate you. We can see Ryan's deck list packing 3 Fatal Pushes out of the board. So that's probably why we're considering naming the Fatal Push here.
Sure.
I think the next one, if we're on board with naming the opponent's hate, if we think that we can get in under the opponent's like Urza combo, I think the next name is probably Dead of Winter.
Oh, really? To get around the board wipe they have. Okay, that makes sense.
But seeing the first fetch as Watery Grave leads me to believe that he's probably not sitting on one in hand.
Right. Because otherwise they try to go for it as soon as possible to have the X equals 3 as soon as possible to wipe that board.
Exactly.
And soon you're going to have Thalia's Lieutenant where it's just, ooh, but they're going for it. So what, Humans just has to race at this point?
This is a super interesting line here. We can go and we can play our Meddling Mage and potentially name... Hold on one sec. I'm trying to watch this as well. Mm-hmm. We can play our Meddling Mage and potentially name like Sword.
Right.
We can name their hate piece, or we can try and go crazy and name the blocker an Urza.
Yeah, the thing is, this deck, though, like we mentioned, can just all of a sudden whir out of nowhere next turn or end of their turn and just have the combo. I feel like Humans just has to go on the aggressive and have to beat down in the next turn and hope to have lethal because otherwise it's just so brutal.
Exactly. So we're out of Dead of Winter range, which is a big deal here. We're going to connect for 8, so we need to find like Mantis Rider off the top. to really... No, because we need the land for it, too. This is a tough situation if we get wiped here.
Make him have it.
Oh, always. So we play our Bauble. Opal turns on a third land.
Yeah, Bauble, Opal. Oh, no. Don't have it. Don't have it.
I don't know. This is interesting. I'm trying to think of a sequence of cards that potentially just wins you the game on the spot here.
Yeah, no, it's harder. It's harder for Urza. And like we talked about, I think Modern's in a good place right now where I'd rather Urza be the boogeyman than Hogak or Phoenix, something like that. Just because it's easier to think through and they don't always have it, or it's not as early set up the way other decks are.
Well, because you feel like you actually get to play a little bit of Magic too.
Exactly.
Decks like Hogak, and this is where I never understood like WotC's idea behind, oh, well, they're not killing you before turn 4. Well, yeah, the game itself is not over by turn 4, but I'm at 2 life and my opponent has 3 Creeping Chills left in their deck.
Exactly. Like I mentioned, the game could be over on turn 2, but it's not over on turn 2. But hey, there we see Urza concedes, so gotta go fast.
I mean, it just goes to show these decks are beatable, which you looked at deck like Hogak, and the only way that you'd be able to beat these decks are by just super degenerate combo. It's like, okay, how do I beat Hogak? I'm playing Burn. I'm playing Infect. I'm playing all of these strategies that just come super, super linear aggressive. You're dead.
Absolutely.
And then you look at decks like Humans now where, you may not like playing against the card Gaddock. You may not like playing against the card Meddling Mage or Kitesail Freebooter, but they are inherently fair Magic cards.
Yeah, not even a question.
So I don't think there's really a single person that would say, except maybe the ad nauseum players, that would say, I would rather play against Hogak than Humans.
Yeah, do you think Dampening Sphere is worth a consideration here?
So, I was thinking about it earlier, but I think the only time that card becomes relevant is if you're casting multiple spells in a turn.
Which and where's it does sometimes, right, with the 0 drops?
Exactly, but you're playing it basically to stop like Urza from going infinite in the same turn.
Okay.
Whereas if they don't go on the Urza route and they just try and grind you with Thopter Sword, the card is essentially dead.
Right. And also here we see an amazing hand from Humans with the Hierarch into the Thalia into the Freebooter. This is just a really good Urza hate hand.
This is going to be a very interesting start. I'm curious to see if Ryan's able to navigate through a hand like this. Even if he has the removal spell for the Thalia, it's going to be really tricky to try and fight through something like this. I mean, you have to keep
Thalias.
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep a hand that has 2 to 3 lands to even remotely play Magic this game.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. Humans has the tempo they need, and, like, they can't hope for better, right? Like, maybe a Meddling Mage instead of the Lieutenant, so they could have the extra backup, but...
Yeah.
And like we said, here is the other plan from Urza.
Oh, wow. Unfortunately, though, what you're going to see here is you're going to play your Stoneforge Mystic, and you're going to get your Batter Skull or whatever you decide to grab freebooted almost immediately.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Well, I suppose, yeah, the decision's made for you at that point, right?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think what we really want off the top for the human side is maybe one more 1-drop just to curve perfectly.
Yeah. So, yeah, at that point, something like, what, a Champion of the Parish would have been nice?
I would think Champion's probably the ideal one. Otherwise, you go Noble, so you can triple spell on the next turn. Because then you'll have 6 mana, so you go Lieutenant, Thalia, and maybe another 2-drop off the top.
Yeah.
Preferably Phantasmal Image, and that would just isolate the game and just close it out right then.
Right, so let's see what's in that. Oh my goodness. They got Dead of Winter, Fatal Push, and
that is a very hateful hand.
Oh my goodness.
I think you're okay letting them have the Dead of Winter for now.
Yeah, I mean,
letting them have the Batter Skull for now and just take the Dead of Winter.
Oh, you think so?
I don't see a world where...
Because you do have the double Thalia, so even if they wipe it, you have the second one, but I guess they do have the Fatal Push. Yeah, wow, this is not what Humans wanted to see. Is this almost one of the worst hands they could have seen?
I think we take away their blowout potential. I think we take away the Dead of Winter. The reason being is he's on 3 lands in the hand. He doesn't have black mana, so he can't Fatal Push right now. And then even if he Fatal Pushes the Freebooter to get the Dead of Winter back, Thalia still pushes him off 1 more turn.
That's true. They have the Foundry, and they have plenty of ways to get into another artifact, but I guess that is not the correct way to play, and it is to take the Batter Skull and just hope that they don't get it, right? Because right now, Dead of Winter is only doing -1.
If we draw a basic Actually, yeah, we got to draw a fetch land or a basic swamp. I don't know. I generally don't like leaving my opponent with haymakers when I'm playing decks like this.
I feel like Humans doesn't have that luxury though, just because of the way this matchup is they every turn that goes by, I think the win percentage goes down just a little tiny bit. So they just have to really push it. And I feel like this is the way it has to go because the result Batterskull is just almost GG for them.
That's true. I just think that you can probably get your board to go bigger than the Batterskull.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Also, Thalia first striking is huge.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? But yeah, I mean, Dead of Winter is only dealing 2 damage right now, or rather, minus X for X is 2, but still brutal.
No, for sure. I mean, we could sit here and talk all day about what to take in that hand. That's probably one of the more interesting decisions that may shape the outcome of this game.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, we can say, okay, he has no black mana, no black mana, no black mana, and then he top decks the black source. And
Right.
We both look silly. Then he goes and we say, okay, well, we have to take the Dead of Winter because if he draws the black mana, and he can brick on black mana for 5 straight turns.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I mean, probably just Cavern's the right call here, just in case, right?
I think so. I mean, there's no world where we just don't lead on our rainbow land. There's really not a whole lot of ways to interact with it. The question is, do we play like Thalia plus Lieutenant and just overextend into the board wipe anyway?
Right.
Because if he draws the land and then just Dead of Winters, he basically wins the game on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel like you gotta, they're gonna jam the Lieutenant. I mean, trying to get out of range, right? That pushes the freebooter to 2/3, and they need to, wow, okay, I get it.
Oh man, this is such a tight game.
What's the consideration for not playing Thalia before you play Lieutenant there?
That I'm not sure, honestly. Maybe he just I can't come up with logical reasoning for that one.
Yeah.
I just think Dahlia kind of serves as a protection spell.
Yeah. And like I guess you're not getting it out of range anyway, so
yeah. Thopter Sword.
There we go. Hello, Batterskull. How you doing?
Ooh.
I mean, to draw it off the top like that, it's just.
I got 2 of them.
Yeah. I took it. I'm smart. Why are there 2?
If he drew another land, though, he gets to have his cake and eat it too, because then he gets to hit the the what do you call it? The Dead of Winter on top of it.
Winter. Okay, just a swing. I mean, I wouldn't block here.
Yeah, there's no reason to. At least I don't believe so. Because you crack back harder than he hits you. So exactly. I think you're fine because you're kind of winning the race.
Yeah, I mean, that second Batterskull from the top is just unreal. That's why you run 2. That's why you run 2.
Thopter Foundry?
Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't seem like they're going for the blowout here, right? They're just going for the setup.
Yeah, but turns on Fatal Push on the next turn too, which is a big problem.
Oh, I mean, it turns on Fatal Push right now, right?
Dahlia.
Oh, hey, nice call.
So that's the only reason why we haven't gotten a Fatal Push yet. We're hoping that we can find some sort of resiliency here.
So, that's not what you want to see. Yeah, he has black mana now, but the Thalia tax is real. So what, on their turn they can Dead of Winter for 2?
I don't even think we play the champion here, personally. I think we hold that champion to rebuild because we're probably getting hit with Dead of Winter on the next turn.
Yeah, I mean, but do you want to put your Lieutenant out of range of Dead of Winter? Possibly, conceivably?
I think I value my champion more than I value my Lieutenant.
Okay.
I think my Lieutenant's a strong card, but being able to continue to pressure with champion Thalia freebooter. Because remember, he still does have Fatal Push too.
Right.
So he could always just Dead of Winter the board and then Fatal Push the Lieutenant, and then everybody's sad.
That's true. Man, I don't envy this person in this matchup right now. Well, I mean, they went for it. Apparently, they value the lieutenant.
Yeah. The real blowout here is peel a snowland. If a snowland's peeled off the top, that's probably game over.
Well, and just a snow swamp to rub it in a little more.
Send the message.
Yeah. So, as you can see, I both have Fatal Push and did a Winter Up right now.
Yeah, basically. Let's see what we're working with here.
Yeah, I mean, this matchup seems pretty beautiful. Sorry, this matchup seems pretty brutal for humans, quite honestly.
It definitely seems tricky. There's a lot of things to Meddling Mage. They do have a fair bit of removal post-board. It's not the easiest of matchups.
Yeah, and I mean, like Doom said in the chat, we haven't even seen Bridge yet, and Bridge is another thing that would just, shut this deck down? They don't have an answer to that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh. I'm just flabbergasted right now. This is unreal.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like something else when it comes to this particular matchup. Like, here you're seeing pretty much what used to be the de facto best deck in Modern.
Right.
Kind of go toe-to-toe with the new kid on the block, who's also the best deck in Modern.
Ain't that the truth?
So, this is going to be a very curious outcome.
Yeah, so they're tapping out for a winner? Yeah, for 2. Yep, looks like it.
I think that's a safe play. I think you win the race on the board with the germ token as is.
Absolutely.
So I don't see a world where I'm really compromising that.
No question at all. So they have push.
I'm trying to think if he can win the race here with humans. Like if there's a world, ooh, good draw.
Yeah. So you play Thalia, then you absolutely have to name push because otherwise,
110% you're naming push. I think that where you stand on board, you can beat Thopter Sword. I don't know because you also make your lieutenant now bigger than the Batterskull.
Hey,
so you can
there
just
we go.
Poke it in with freebooter. But if you name push here, that might buy you enough time to win this game.
Was that the perfect draw for humans?
I would like to think so. I don't really see a world like maybe Night of Autumn is a little bit better just to hit the Batterskull, but other than that, I mean, that was pretty much everything that you wanted and more.
Sure. So they get him with the flyer, ding 2, and now they can successfully block and kill the Batterskull. But this is still so brutal.
Wow, this is a tight game.
Yeah,
and here we were thinking, we were kind of writing this off, like, all right, get a winner or bust.
So there's still 1 mana off from Whirring for Sword because of Thalia.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't opal into opal for the mana because of Thalia. So they're good for a turn at least.
Yes. I think Ensnaring Bridge would be a problem. I think drawing specifically Ensnaring Bridge off the top puts you in a spot where you can stall the board enough because eventually you'll be able to dump your hand. Like if you go Ensnaring Bridge for 4, Fatal Push for 2. But everything they have right now, I mean, you play the Ensnaring Bridge that puts you to 2 cards in hand. So that would be a solid top deck.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, does Urza do it? So we go Urza. Urza would make an artifact. That artifact would be a 4/4.
Seems good, but it doesn't win. It definitely bides time, and you can spin the wheels next turn, and we can see. But I think this game got slowed down by a good margin right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think this game was kind of brought to a screeching halt for now. We're going to look at each other funny for a couple of turns. I think humans is in the driver's seat.
Sure.
But I think the way this game's going to work right now is we're going to be chipping in for 2, chipping in for 2, chipping in for 2, and hoping that we can just get there.
Yeah. I saw the Batterskull exiled with the freebooter, and I thought for a second it was equipped, and I was like, oh my god, they're gonna win. Oh no, it's exiled, not equipped.
And chat's actually bringing up a good point too, where you can whir under the Thalia because the Batterskull itself taps. So the germ doesn't tap, but the Batterskull does.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. And are we seeing that right now?
Is another Dead of Winter? Wow.
Oh, post combat.
Yikes.
Oh, in the welding jar. Just why not?
I got me a jar.
I got this jar full of cables. How's it going?
That was disgusting, because remember, the last card in hand is a Fatal Push.
Right, and now they can just cast it? Oh my goodness.
Oh, but here's a resilient draw from Punt, though. I mean, we're seeing a Mantis Rider here. So we can go Mantis Rider and crack our Horizon Canopy.
Yep, absolutely you can. Any consideration for casting it with Cavernous Souls instead, just to make it uncounterable?
I don't know if there's enough counter magic out of these Urza decks. I don't believe Ryan's list is very flush with counter magic. Let me pull it up right here. So,
I was thinking more of his best practices instead of individual deck.
Best practices, yes, but in this particular situation, because we've drawn the Horizon Canopy, I think we want to be as mana efficient as possible.
Sure.
Because the whole purpose of playing those cards is to get the redraw anyway.
Right, no, I totally understand that you can't crack the canopy with the Ziggurat mana, but just wondering if it's something to consider for the future.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely something to keep an eye out for. Let's see, what are we working with here? Definitely an interesting draw. For him to be contemplating this, I guess the question is, do we use the Thopter Foundry to potentially sack like a Mox Opal? And then Fatal Push? Nope, because that would take us off black. Can we use it to sack the Welding Jar, maybe? Because we definitely...
Oh,
that's just a really good draw.
Yeah, I mean, humans had it for a second. The tempo almost changed, and that second Dead of Winter just said, no. Urza is the captain of this ship.
I think Engineer just puts combo online.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I mean, you can sack the Welding Jar. I don't even know if you want to do that just yet, though. I think you're probably sacking maybe like Mox Opal and just riding out the Thopter Founder to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard for humans. It's uphill battle, and then go ahead and crack. What do you rip? What can you even get here?
You want to know what the best rip is? Best rip is probably Knight of Autumn.
Okay. Well, what if instead you got Freebooter? How'd you feel
Freebooter
about that?
doesn't do it, unfortunately. Give me Knight of Autumn.
Sure. So I hear what you're saying.
Or Deputy. Deputy's in here as well.
But what if instead of a Factor Mage?
That I don't think helps us here.
No, I don't think it does at all. Like, you don't really want to bounce Engineer at this point. It's like Engineer did its job, right? And if they want to recast it, go ahead.
I think bouncing it actually hurts us more than it helps us.
Ain't that the truth?
Wow, and the concession.
Oof,
that was really, really close. That was a tight game.
There we go.
Phew. So, Doom, what are you thinking about that one? That was definitely an interesting match.
Well, as I went over on the forecast, we've seen a lot of matchups. This week particularly, I feel has been the week of matchups that one deck, it looks like on paper, stands no chance at all. And on paper, humans stood no chance there. But we never saw a bridge, and that was the great equalizer. And PuntThenWhine played beautifully. Unfortunately, just 2 board wipes. Humans is not beating 2 board wipes.
So, no, they are not.
No, just like we've seen before, the scrappy underdog on paper keeps fighting, and that's what you get when you have really good players and really good competitors, really playing for those for the money to go to their specific charity. So,
no, for sure. I mean, everybody loves a good Cinderella story. So I can definitely appreciate that. Speaking of those charities, for those of you who are just joining us, I do want to give you a heads up what this event's all about. This event was organized by Mr. Saint Doom himself, Michael Goldenberg, as basically a concept event. We wanted to design a league that would provide entertainment for people who really enjoyed the modern format, popularize a lot of streamers, but also give back. We wanted to give back to the community that has given so much to us and help those who are a bit less fortunate. So Team Fire, which is the team that I play for, is playing for A21. It's a charity that's looking to end slavery worldwide. Slavery does still exist in places outside the United States. We're looking to give everyone the same freedom that we have here. We are a global league, so that gives us the ability to help those who are all over the world and not necessarily just United States based. I do also know that Team Ice is working with the Cancer Research Institute to help end cancer worldwide. Everyone we know has pretty much either been touched by cancer or knows somebody who has been touched by cancer, so we want to make sure that we can assist these organizations as best as possible. But moving a little bit forward, I do want to head into match 4. That's going to be Yamakiller playing some Hardened Scales, and DaviusMinimus playing 5-color Niv Mizzet. Probably one of the spicier lists that we have here. But I'm thinking it's going to be a super sweet match, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. Stay tuned for the forecast of doom, and we'll see you in just a bit.
Welcome back to the 4th Forecast of Doom. This is DaviusMinimus on 5-color Niv Mizzet against Yamakiller on Hardened Scales. This is a aggressive matchup against a big mana matchup. This, I feel, favors the aggressive matchup. Having access to a very explosive start, Hardened Scales can just beat Niv Mizzet before it can really get its feet, really get running at all. However, if the game lasts long enough, Niv Mizzet can clearly take control of this. And Davius has the tools to do so, with removal spells like Lightning Helix, Dreadbore, Abrupt Decay, Assassin's Trophy, Izzet Charm, even Teferi Time Reveler, unsummoning a Steel Overseer could be very key in this game. Hardened Scales does have Inkmoth Nexus to try to win a game out of nowhere, as well as cute little tricks with Walking Ballista and Ravager to also just deal a large amount of damage out of nowhere. I think this matchup favors Hardened Scales only because I think Steel Overseer and Ravager are kind of busted together. Like really, really, really good. Rooting for DaviusMinimus, he's my teammate. But this is going to be an uphill battle for him to climb, as big mana strategies usually do struggle against aggressive artifact-heavy decks. But let's see how it plays out.
And here we are.
And we're back. So we're seeing this from Davius's perspective here. So I had the pleasure of playing against Davius. I want to say it was week 3 of season 1. And he played a very similar deck, but he made some slight touch-ups. You're seeing a good bit of Arkham's Astrolabe in this list. He's definitely improved his mana base a ton. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting match.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this was a pretty interesting keep on his part, don't you think? Only with all those lands and just the Ren and 6 and the birds?
Ren and 6 plus Tranquil Thicket. And Tranquil Thicket's one of the newest additions to Modern, alongside Ren and 6, of course. But these cycle lands, don't sleep on them. He's essentially drawing 1 card per turn just for his draw step. With the Tranquil Thicket, he's drawing an extra card, because every turn he's going to cycle Tranquil Thicket, buy it back with Ren and 6. Cycle Tranquil Thicket, buy it back with Ren and 6. And before you know it, he's just going to run his opponent over with just sheer card advantage.
That's fair. And I feel like with Ren and 6, it's easy to sort of dismiss it or not view it as its full power, which is things like that, where it's, 5 lands, but one of them is incremental value for me.
For sure. So this is actually a super interesting scenario here, where I think we're actually going to Lightning Helix the Hangerback Walker on the opponent's turn. And what that'll give us is the opportunity to then Maelstrom Pulse the tokens on our main state, or right. Our main phase.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what Gaul has with this one. I know that they are quite adept at Hardened Scales.
Yes. So Gall is well known for playing this deck. I want to say he's been playing the deck basically since kind of the affinity variants have been pushing off of the traditional like Thoughtcast Galv Blast versions.
Sure, absolutely.
So I've definitely experienced my fair share of beatings in my modern leagues.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we actually had. Oh, go ahead.
I've taken enough lumps from Gall to know just how much prowess he has with this deck.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually had Gall on the podcast, or episode 13, where we interviewed him right after he got second place at GP LA. And Hardened Scale is just a deck that is so much work and so much math that it's blowing my mind. Something they said that really sticks with me, and something that I think is just really cromulent still, is it's a deck where every turn you have to look for lethal and like count your lines and see how much you can do, because this is a deck that can just win out of nowhere sometimes, like Walking Ballista and all these cards that are just outrageous. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. I definitely think that this is probably one of the more explosive variants of Affinity that I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
People have talked about, okay, well, you're going to have all of these different decks. Wow, he took this line instead.
Okay.
Ooh.
Is the plan to save Maelstrom Pulse and try to hit the Thopters, or what are you going for here, do you think?
I'm not 100% sure. Maybe he believes that he can use the Ren and 6 to kind of just mow down the Thopters over time.
That's
I
true.
like the idea of protecting my Teferi, though. You have a lot of cards like Maelstrom Pulse that you can use at instant speed, and I think you're losing a lot of value, like not being able to answer kind of land with those type of abilities.
Right, absolutely.
Or excuse me, you can't hit a land with Maelstrom Pulse, but being able to hit like Hardened Scales at instant speed.
Yeah, no. So, and here's them going for the module.
Okay. Well, it does stop him from going wide. I think kind of the route that Davius is committed to at this point is, oh, that's a problem.
That seems like an issue.
Ooh. Yeah, see, my personal line here, I think I would have Maelstrom Pulsed the tokens on the previous turn.
Right.
And then you can use Teferi to bounce the Ravager. Because Ravager blanks a lot of your removal in this deck.
Yeah, Ravagers just makes Magic so much harder for the opponent. And yeah, you just see them mousing over it, just shaking their head.
Definitely not the best scenario for us over here.
No. And yeah, we have now a 4/4 flyer, a 5/5 or 4/4 Ravager, and 2 1/1s. Anyways, yeah. Now Walkers are dead.
Oh, wow.
That's a pretty nice rip from the top.
That's Big Daddy right there. That's what we need.
Oh man,
that's probably one of the best top decks we could have had right there.
Oh, absolutely. Especially because you have so much strange multicolored stuff in the deck because of Niv, that now you get the thing that draw you into that instead of just drawing that by itself. So what do they hit?
Oh, okay. Wow.
That seems pretty good. Oh my goodness.
Bring to Light is going to be disgusting here, because Bring to Light is able to successfully answer the entire board. Now, what Davius needs to fade here is actually a Hangerback Walker.
Yeah.
Because that Bring to Light goes and puts... Where'd it go? I just want to see what this line is here.
Oh, Hangerback does it too, I think.
Ballista. So let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts. So he's a 4/4, 6/6, an 8/8, a 10/10. Ballista comes in with 3. I believe that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. And like that's the whole thing that, like I said, Gall mentioned on the podcast, where it's you count the lines, you figure it out. So you're swinging right now, you're sacking what gets blocked, etc. And just Ballista's gonna be able to close up the game. What a very good Magic card. What a very, very good Magic card.
Yeah, you aren't kidding. And you're even able to like blank the Lightning Helix too.
Yeah. Oh, just just why not? So you can get him with your flyers. It doesn't even matter.
Well, I think he shoots 1 here because it forces him to commit.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, at this point he's tapped out, right?
And so then you could always animate the Ink Moth to just sack it anyway, and it gives you exact.
It's like the thing that you said came true.
Wow. That was expertly played by Gall. That was really, really, really heads up.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't see a way out of this.
That was masterful.
Yeah, and like chat's saying, if you Helix face, you buy a turn, and I do believe that, but a turn, is that enough?
For the Kaya's Guile, I think so.
Okay, okay.
But I think you can't Helix face there. I don't think you can afford the Helix face, because if you go upstairs, you basically die on the spot. Because in response to going upstairs there, he's gonna kill you at instant speed with the Ballista.
Absolutely. Would you bring in the Supreme Verdict here?
I personally really like board wipes against this version.
As do I.
You're playing Rest in Peace, you're trying to isolate the graveyard, but one of the biggest ways that you kind of get outvalued by this Hardened Skills deck is their ability to just kill you with Thopters, going over the top by just making huge hangerback walkers, and then you go to kill it, and the next thing you know, you're getting blown out.
I love him looking at the list in between rounds right now.
Hey,
What's he gonna bring in? What's gonna happen?
Fair game.
Yeah, no,
That's really heads up.
absolutely. It's just, yeah. The Scrap Heap Recombobulator is so fun right here.
I'm actually not super familiar with that card. I believe that's the one that lets you tutor, correct?
Yeah, it gives the deck a little more reach, and it's like the deck was kind of struggling before, but I think Hardened Skills is in a very, very good place right now. I would hedge to say that I think it's just better than Affinity at this point.
I think that's a bold claim.
I'm making it.
Listen, I can definitely take it. I was a big Affinity player for a while. Really appreciated the deck, understood the speed, understood the idea of what you're trying to do. I think against the grindier metagame, you're probably correct. Against decks like Jund, against decks like Jeskai, against decks like Esper, you're really seeing a lot more play out of these Hardened Skill decks because they're very resilient to removal. Cards like Welding Jar are super potent. Hangerback Walker is absolutely insane. Being able to have reach in the form of Walking Ballista is a big deal. So I can totally see that claim right now. I will tell you, if more combo seems to surface and you need a little bit more aggression out of your Affinity deck, I think I like Traditional a little bit more. Okay. Wow, this hand is gasoline.
Rest in Peace shuts off all those. Oh my goodness. No die triggers, no die triggers, no modular. Oh my goodness. So, would you just jam Rest in Peace here next turn?
Actually, no. I think I jam Renin 6 here. The reason being is if I show the Rest in Peace, I don't get value out of it.
Okay.
So I had a discussion with one of my friends where we both played Blue-White Control, and we talked about this in the Dredge matchup and this matchup in particular. Rest in Peace against decks like Dredge, against decks like Hardened Skills, you want to make sure that you get the most value. So you want to couple your Rest in Peace with cards like Lightning Helix, with cards like Supreme Verdict, because if they go and they see the Rest in Peace, they Nature's Claim and then play their threat. But more often than not, you can get your opponent to tap out into the face of your Rest in Peace and then get the value that you want to get. Like if he was to play Hangerback Walker here instead of playing Animation Module Welding Jar, you go and you play Rest in Peace and then Helix.
Right.
And you basically clean the board up. Now you're in a situation where if he has the Nature's Claim in hand, he Nature's Claims the Rest in Peace and then proceeds to just do what he wants.
Absolutely. Oh, ooh. Maelstrom Pulse hit those. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Dirty. Oh yeah, this seems to be going a lot better for this deck right now. So yeah, what are Hardened Skills outs right now? What are they trying to do?
I think what you're trying to do is you need to probably stick a threat that's resilient to Renin 6. But with 2 Lightning Helixes, you'd have to be able to like go double jar because Steel Overseer is not going to cut it. That's a card that you kind of want on the board against the Renin 6. You're in the situation where you can probably like Welding Jar this, and then when you Welding Jar, he Helixes anyway.
Right. And once again, no tokens because of the Rest in Peace.
Exactly. I don't know if I would have even let him get the ability there off the Welding Jar. I think I would have just Helixed it anyway. Doesn't change anything, but just to send the message.
Right. And it's all about that, right? Letting your opponent know who you are.
That seems to be the philosophy of the night, is we need to send a message. Ooh, that's a decent draw, though. Makes you resilient to Renin 6.
Yeah. Pendelhaven seems to be pretty good in this deck, huh?
Absolutely. Being able to just power up these small threats that just usually get pinged away is a big deal, especially in a matchup with Ren and 6, and I believe there's also Electrolyze in this deck.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole thing is they're just running all these, not bizarre, but lesser played dual-color cards, right?
Exactly. Like you're seeing Thought Erasure, which generally it's strictly correct to just play Thought Seize.
Yeah.
But you're seeing cards like Bring to Light, which are usually played in strictly combo strategies, but in this particular deck, it's just a value engine. You use the Bring to Light, you get your Niv Mizzet. You use your Bring to Light, you grab all of these different cards. Boros Charm, Izzet Charm, Assassin's Trophy.
Yeah, so what? Yeah, goodbye, Steel Overseer. Yeah, this seems pretty brutal for Gal to come back from here.
To be fair, he's not out of the woods yet, though.
No, yeah.
I think Davius really needs to start drawing some gas. Niv Mizzet would obviously be the best draw off the top of the deck, but where we're currently at is this animation module generates a lot of value. We have ways to ping with Infect. We have ways to kill the Ren and 6 off the board and remove these threats.
No, absolutely. And the thing with this Niv deck, too, is it's fun, but you do have a lot of quote-unquote air, or a lot of quote-unquote, not dead cards, but weirder fringe cards just because you hope to rip them from Niv, and they're less good when you rip them from the top.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a Niv? He looks ain't bad.
Not the worst. Buys you some time.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just Niv is probably just the best draw at this point.
I do believe card for card, Davius is better. Mm-hmm. I think that you're heavily reliant on card synergy in Gall's deck, and I think without a critical mass of cards, you're in really rough shape. Whereas kind of Davius, off the top of his library, plays very fair, is able to kind of do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
That was an excellent draw, though. Being able to just go Hanger Backwalker.
This seems good. Yeah, I mean, not being able to make the token's a bummer, but...
This is interesting here.
Oh,
Ooh.
Bring to Light can just grab Niv, right?
Yes.
Cast with 5 colors. Oh, and here we go.
Refill my entire hand. Thank you. Come again.
But what if I had 7 cards, please? Thank you. Graft on a Niv. Graft on a Niv. Give him the counter. Give Niv the counter.
Oh, we only saw 2 of them.
Whoa.
Oh, no. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, I was like, 3 cards. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we hit the Fracturing Gust, though.
Yep. Yeah. What if I drew 3 cards that directly hate your strategy? How would you feel about that?
Yikes.
Yeah.
That was interesting. So we're in a weird spot now where we're looking post-board. Lavinia's fine. There's really not much out of here that I want. Izzet Charm I'm not super big fan of because most of the creatures are bigger than 2 toughness.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard. Hardened Scales definitely gets a boost being on the draw. Sorry, being on the play.
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially being a Moxel pull deck too, sometimes being able to go turn 1 Overseer is a big deal, which isn't very common. You actually see it a lot more in a traditional Affinity than you will at a Hardened Scales, but it's not unheard of.
So they cut the Kaya's Guile here. Do you agree with that?
So I'm not a super big fan of Edict effects against a deck that 1 likes to go wide and 2 plays creatures that like to be Edicted. Sure. I think Kaya's Guile is probably better on the play because you're going turn 1 Bird, turn 2 Removal, turn 3 Edict.
Sure.
But trimming a copy of Niv Mizzet seems a little strange, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you think the hate's better than the Enabler, maybe.
But the thing is, that's your namesake card. That's your value engine. It feels strange to not want to play it.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I guess it is not super great if you get it early when you need to have the reaction.
Let's see. Another Rest in Peace hands. Oh, boy.
This seems like a good keep.
Yeah, we got our Ren and 6 on 2 with the Pillar of the Prunes.
Ooh, and Kaya to deal the blow after Rest in Peace. I like it.
That's nasty. Steel Overseer.
Excuse me, first a fancy Mox Opal.
Ooh.
Okay.
That actually makes things a little bit tricky here.
Do you jam Rest in Peace and hope they don't have their removal, or do you do Ren then Rest in Peace to punish them for not having their removal?
We can't play the Rest in Peace because we have a pillar. So we're actually pigeonholed into Ren and 6 or Abrupt Decay. I think personally, I'm probably playing the Ren and 6 and just getting the land because I think I just value. I don't believe the opponent can kill us right away. What if we grab off the the Ancient Strange, the animation module, right?
Right in their field zone.
Yeah, so if he's got that animation module, I don't really see a world where we're losing it, but I don't really agree with that line there for the Helix.
No, I
because
don't
you put the Ren and 6 on board, you plus, and then it gives you an opening to ping.
Totally agree with that. Whew, and this is absolutely brutal from, oh my goodness.
Now,
the module, the opal, yeah.
If you miss a land drop, you're forced to buy back another land and basically kill a turn.
Oh my goodness. That's rough. That's absolutely rough.
My line would have left them with one more land, which lets him stick this verdict. This is tough. Oh, man. We got to rip a land. I think we actually fetch main phase to try and hope we can pull one more land in our deck.
No, I think that's totally fair. And what, just verdict and hope for the best?
I believe so.
And then hope to follow up with, what, a Fracturing Gust if they try to go white again?
I think so.
Oh, this is not...
Oof. This is super tough. I believe Davius plays like 25 lands in his deck, so it's not unheard of for him to be able to run away with this game here.
Yeah, no, it's not the end of it, but it's looking dire, to say the least.
I will tell you, we top decked that land. We're in fantastic shape. The opponent has one card in hand. So let's see what we can do here. Top deck. That's no bueno.
Yeah, it's not quite lethal, but it's not good.
Oh, man. I wouldn't be worried about his deck list here. I think you got to survive to a game 3 to get there.
Yeah, never a good thought when you're alt-tabbing into your opponent's deck list frantically, right?
I actually think we pass the turn. This way our opponent can't go all in on a Ravager.
And leave up Kolaghan's command?
You can leave up Kolaghan's, but Ravager blows out Kolaghan's. I think what we have to do is we're probably decaying Ravager just to not give him the extra land, and then try and blow him out with Kolaghan's on the next turn. Unless he's concerned, which I think is why he was checking the deck list, is do I have to kill the Reclaimer now? Or the Recombobulator, excuse me.
Yeah, no worries. And I guess Rip just forces them to do the Ravager business now because they can't do it later.
Yeah, and they can't modular.
Still, this is not a great place to be.
I don't feel comfortable if I'm him in this situation. Without that 4th land, our hand is basically blank. We missed a land drop. We're going to take probably, I would say, 8 damage here.
Right.
The Rest in Peace at least stops the Ballista line.
Yeah, absolutely. Ugh. Yeah, and once again, like all I was saying, you have to be counting lethal all the time because sometimes you just rip a Ballista and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's 20.
It's not even that. He can use the Horizon card. I think it's Recombobulator. Let me check the text on this card.
Oh, wait, you're saying he can just grab it?
I'm pretty sure he can tutor Ballista.
Oh, but what if you just grab it from the top though instead?
Because we have the largest brains.
Galaxy brains over here, folks. Galaxy brains.
All right, so we play that. Wow, she's going all in. All right, screw it. Wrath or bust.
So land or GG?
Hey, I mean, sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit. Scared money don't make no money.
Is that the truth? Oh, that is not what you need.
All right. I mean, sometimes it's going to get you.
Yeah, it's going to get you indeed. Yeah, so I think Rip was correct. I think you were correct with jamming the Ren and 6 earlier to try to get the lands would have been the great, but not what we saw, so it goes.
I think where we sit in this particular matchup is it's absolutely imperative that we hit a land drop every single turn, especially knowing that everything in our deck costs 2 or more. So in order for us to double spell, we still need 4 lands.
Yep.
But
I totally agree with that.
I understand prioritizing the Rest in Peace too, because sometimes you just gotta get there.
Yeah, it's hard. This is another deck that has multiple lines of victory, and you have to cut them off from one and make them go in the other. And that is a good strategy, but sometimes they can just go down the other then, right?
Yeah, you're seeing it a lot in Modern. The decks that have the most success attack from multiple angles, especially with cards like Faithless Looting Ban that enable these super degenerate linear strategies to kind of reign supreme. So I'm excited to see more decks like this that attack from different angles and threaten your opponent in more ways than just jam my combo down your throat.
Definitely. Yeah, so they're destroying an artifact, dealing 2 damage. Are they going for... What are they grabbing?
Probably another Ravager.
Ooh, Steel Overseer? Okay. I guess they don't know about the Stream Verdict in hand the way we do, so that's fair. You can't play around what you don't know.
It's tough. There's not really anything that you can grab because you have to... You have to specifically grab, like, creatures. You can't grab a Welding Jar. Right. So where we're at here is kind of just go for the dome and hope for the best. I think that does it.
Go to 3. Oh, there we go. All right.
Wow. So double white, make a blue. Oh, no.
My goodness. Yeah, so go to 2, Ballista pings you for 2. That was not the land. Okay, maybe he doesn't know. Maybe Gal doesn't see. Maybe he can grab the land and cast it and Gal won't see.
No,
Gal don't see it. No, Gal, no!
Nah, the reason why he waits is he's got to be afraid of, like, Helix. That's a good game. Really good game.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Oh, man. Look at Gal coming up clutch for Team Fire. Heating up, going to 4-4.
Wait, are we going to see another real-time change of the score right now?
Yes.
I'm hoping so. Give it to me, Doom Daddy. Let's go. What do we got?
I see right in front of me a 3 becoming... Well, becoming what?
Actually, no. Hold on. Let me click correctly. So I missed the last one, right? And then this one. Ah, man. Team Fire is picking it up. Team Fire is heating up right now. So
there we go.
We have the last round of the night will be in just a minute. It's RJ Benson, our very own, the dude in the middle, against Sodek on Dredge. If Sodek wins, we tie this week. If RJ wins, Team Fire takes the cake, wins week 1 of season 2 of the Modern Streamers League. This is... I just want to do a quick recap. Real quick. Because I got a lot of... so I had a system to make the teams and try to make them as fair and balanced as possible. And the co-founder, Chris, double-checked and he made a couple tweaks at the end. I got a lot of crap for people being like, oh, the teams aren't balanced. And I was like, well, which team's better? And no one answered me. So I was like, you're just giving me crap. Week 1 was 6-4. Week 2 was 6-4. Week 3 was 5-5. Week 4 was 6-4. Week 5 was 7-3. And right now, this week is either 5-5 or 6-4. You can't be any closer than this is right now. If Team Fire wins, if RJ wins this match coming up, we will be exactly tied match to match. Like, because Team Ice won 26-24, right? They were up 1. So if Team Fire, if RJ wins this next match, that'll be just coming right up. We will be exactly tied through 6 weeks or 60 matches of Modern Magic. We will be 30-30.
All right.
How else? What are the odds of this? Like, I just can't believe it. I just can't believe it.
You're putting way too much pressure on me, man.
No pressure. No pressure.
Hey, give it to Zach. Let Zach play my match for me. So, no, thank you. I'm looking forward to playing this next one. But we did see some sweet cards in that last game. I do want to give a quick shout out to some spots where you can get those cards. People that have taken care of us this whole league. If you're looking for cards online, take a look at Card Hoarder. They make sure that anything that we need is provided to us. We're always in good shape. I don't think you can really... Any card you could think of, whether you're looking for Vintage, whether you're looking for Pauper, whether you're looking for Modern, Legacy, anything in between, you can find with Card Hoarder. Anything outside, you're looking for Paper Magic cards, accessories, take a look at our sponsor, Card Kingdom. Card Kingdom's able to make sure that you are well taken care of when you are going to your next Paper Magic event.
Yes.
And without further ado, I'll be more than happy to take all the pressure on my shoulders and jump right
Atlas
into
over
the
here.
forecast myself.
Before that, I want you to do the honor of. I want to go a quick break, and then I want to jump into the forecast of doom. And I would love it, RJ. Oh no, he disappeared.
RJ, no!
All right, you're back.
I'm here.
I would
I'm
love
here.
it if you did the forecast of doom. Give the match from your perspective. What are you looking for in this matchup? You can do a quick little deck, whatever you want, and then we'll jump right into the match, which will be commentated by Zach and myself. And then we'll jump back after the match. However it goes, I'll be either sad or I'll be laughing. Either way, we'll jump into the end there.
Awesome. I'd be happy to take care of that for you.
Perfect.
So let us get started. I'll see you all after the break. Welcome back, everyone. For those of you who are just joining us, my name is Robert Benson, known on stream as RobcasterMage13. I'm here to provide the forecast of Doom. Playing against Sodek, well-renowned Dredge player, basically an MTGO end boss. So, the year's 2019. Basically, we just saw Faithless Looting banning. Hogak is gone. Everybody thinks Dredge is all but dead. Sodek's here to let us know that may not necessarily be the case. We're seeing a replacement of Faithless Looting in Thought Scour, and that deck is still just as much as potent as ever. My deck, however, is configured in such a way that it's a little bit different. I'm a fair deck. I'm going back to Kolaghan's Command, looking to take over the metagame by outgrinding with Icefang Coatl and Snapcaster Mage. Tried and true. But I will tell you, Tome Scour. My apologies. Looking forward to this particular matchup, some key cards that I have main deck are the Plague Engineer. If I'm able to successfully stick a Plague Engineer on Vampire, I'm able to keep down those Bloodghasts and eventually stop him from being able to go wide on me. However, I do feel that pre-board, Sodek is slightly favored in just his ability to attack me from the axis of I have no counter magic. I have 4 Force of Negation, and that's the only way that I can really attack the Conflagrate lines, as well as the Tome Scour, Life from the Loam, and Cathartic Reunion. Post-board, I decided that knowing I was playing against Sodek, I did want to have a little bit of graveyard hate. So I have 2 Nihil Spellbombs and 2 Surgical Extractions that I'm going to be leaning on pretty heavily for this matchup. I do have a 3rd Plague Engineer as a way to stop the go-wide strategies from taking the format over on me. But I'm really looking to stabilize my mana base with cards like Wrenn and 6, and eventually bring the game to a grinding halt with Plague Engineer as well as Jace the Mind Sculptor, and hope to kill my opponent through either Bolt Snap Bolt or through a Jace the Mind Sculptor Ultimate. So definitely looking forward to diving right into this match here, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I will.
Hey everybody. Okay, so we have Sodek here with a... I don't really love this Dredge hand. It relies really heavy on Shriekhorn, and without Faithless Looting anymore, not being able to pitch the Bloodghast and Amalgam seems a little weak.
Yeah, I don't think Faithless Looting, the ban, took Dredge out of the running, but I think it made it a little more conservative with their keeps and made it a little more honest, so to speak.
Yes, it made Dredge more fair.
Yeah, definitely, which is good overall, right? We don't want to gut it. We just want it not to feel brutal to play against. But hey, there's a Narcomoeba, so never mind.
And a Thug.
Yeah, a Narcomoeba and a Dredger, so never mind. I misspoke.
Okay, yeah, you way too soon. And a Conflagrate. Okay, yep, this is ooh.
No, I'm an idiot. My apologies.
Yes, I forgive you. So what can he do here? He doesn't have a Dredger in the graveyard at the moment, so he can't, like Forgotten Cave, get the Dredger. No matter what he was getting, the Bloodghast.
This
he
is
can Conflagrate. Yeah, he can Conflagrate. Pitch his hand, and then next turn get back the Bloodghast and Amalgam. I think it's his line.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is just wild, though. I just said how I felt like Dredge was made a little more fair, and then we watched Dredge do Dredge stuff.
Yep.
What are you going to do?
He's got the Dredger back in the graveyard. Next turn, he gets those Amalgams in the Bloodghast. Yikes.
Sorry, is that 3 Amalgams there?
Next turn, he gets the
next. Only 2 trigger.
Yep, but next turn he gets the last one, and that Bloodghast. Yikes. This is insane right now. Yeah, as chat just said, this did escalate very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly.
Sodek's being mean to you. I think he's being mean to anybody who doesn't have a ton of graveyard hate at this particular moment.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
So Life from the Loam lets him cycle Dredge. I really like this Forgotten Cave tech, which is pretty new to Dredge, allowing Life from the Loam and a cycler. It's kind of like build your own Wrenn and 6.
Yeah, no, definitely. Those cycling lands, I feel like when they were revealed Modern Horizons, people felt like, yes, these belong in Modern, but not sure where. And I feel like after the banning of Faithless Looting, people are more aware of testing them and trying them out in more ways. Also, just a cool lethal on turn 3.
No big deal.
Not a big deal.
Without Creeping Chill. Like, that is something worth pointing. I didn't see a Creeping Chill there, and Creeping Chill is usually how Dredge would kill me quickly.
There are 2, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
I missed those.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
I was way too busy noticing that sweet conflagrate line that I was just like, oh wait, I was like, oh, he's got no dredger in the graveyard. Oh wait, he can put it there while no big deal, pinging you in the face for a ton of damage.
I mean, worth noting, I guess, that they had lethal without the creeping chill. Not that that helps anybody, but good lord, Dredge is here.
So, without Faithless Looting, Sodek's now leaning harder on Cathartic Reunion and leaning harder on Conflagrate to help pitch cards he needs to get in his graveyard. I think Lightning Axe probably is a little bit better post Faithless Looting. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that makes a little bit of sense with what the format is moving and whatnot. But man, this is. Do you think Thoughtseize is correct to bring in here?
If you can Thoughtseize, like the one graveyard hate that RJ has in his hand, then you can just run away with the game. Like,
Sure, yeah.
Because he said himself, he doesn't have too much grave hate post board because he wasn't expecting Dredge. Always expect Dredge. Always expect it. Dredge and Burn are two decks I always respect in my graveyard. Sideboard.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of talk about Dredge being dead or gutted after the ban. I just feel like the deck definitely was powered up by Faithless Looting, not even a question, but it didn't rely on it in any big way. And it being removed, like Tome Scour is still definitely very good. And there's less, it's riskier to keep a one-land hand, definitely, but I think it's still perfectly cromulent, it's still perfectly powerful. And like Creeping Chill definitely pumped the deck up. And I feel like Creeping Chill was enough pump up power that the removal of looting didn't really knock it down a tier.
Right. So looting is way better for the mana. But Tome Scour is better for the nut draws. Like Tome Scour is just gonna late game, if you just top deck a Tome Scour, sometimes you can just win. Where looting, if you are hellbent and you top deck a looting, it's not nearly as good.
Right.
So bottom that Bloodghast, and okay, this hand is way better to start because he's got a lot more enablers.
Shriekhorn, Tome Scour, and Forgotten Cave. Let's go. Why not?
Okay.
I mean, let's see what they mill, but I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, RJ.
Well, he's got a spell bomb up.
Sure, but
Spellbomb Arcalib for redraw. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're not just dead. They definitely have plenty of interaction, but it just.
You saw Sodek's eyes just go, oh, wait, here's a surgical extraction on Life from the Loam.
Oh, but here, there we go.
Okay, so there's down a Dredger. I mean, we have Nihil Spellbomb and a surgical extraction right now. Would you have spellbombed there or cast a surgical? Because either way, you're getting rid of both of those cards.
Yeah, that's tough. I think that it is important to get rid of Life from the Loam. They saw the Forgotten Cave, and they know that this deck does have those utility lands, so I think it's worth it to try to throw them off tempo, especially if you can try to then get a foot in the door.
Yeah, absolutely. And to second, I agree. Spellbomb's really good at emptying a full graveyard, where surgical sometimes is just like, well, I got rid of your Bloodghasts.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's good.
Yeah, I think the literal surgical cut there to remove the one thing is smarter, and then wait until they have a big turn and try to keep them off it.
Yep.
Oof.
Not looking. This is a much slower start from Dredge. Thanks that surgical and that spell bomb sitting there is going to wipe out that amalgam before it triggers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we saw them try to set up the big play, but that surgical hitting both those dredgers like that is just so enormous.
Yep, and that spell bomb can do that work again.
Yeah. So yeah, Dredge, I feel like they got to play a little more, not a conservative game, but try to peter it out a little bit by little bit because they can't go for it. Or I don't know. It's tough. We're seeing F in chats already.
Oh, okay. Let me check what's going on. So this is Sodek just disconnected, but we have him. We'll reconnect. Check in with RJ. So Sodek, conceded, and now we have him back in just a second for game 3. So it's 1-1.
Hey, Doom, real quick, is my mic hot?
Yeah, you got a hot mic.
There you
Super
go.
hot.
I'm gonna mute my mic so I'm not breathing in the chat.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
man, that's great.
And we got it back. Okay, so up 1-1. So Sodek conceded there. Got to disconnect and a concede to Plague Engineer and in RJ's hand and a Spell Bomb in play, which is just enough to concede there. Okay. But this is game 3. Sodek's on the play with... That's a hand. Turn 1, Shock, Tome Scour.
Right.
I really like the Life from the Loam with the Forgotten Cave. Like, if I just keep seeing those, like, I think I'd keep any hand that I saw that. Just the Green-Black X player in me just loves that grind.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love these cycling lands, and they're a little innocuous. Like, I think maybe some people look up and go, yeah, I mean, oh, all right, comes into play tapped, but the real power is the cycling, not coming into play tapped.
Yep. Wow, look at that. So this is the difference between Tome Scour and Faithless Looting. Faithless Looting there would have pitched a Stinkweed Imp and probably the Creeping Chill, keeping the Life from the Loam in hand to protect it from like a Spell Bomb. But Tome Scour did basically the same thing while still setting up a... Like, it didn't remove cards from your hand. So Dredge can play differently now because it doesn't have to go down on resources the same way it used to. And Tome Scour just digging deeper, we can see just hitting that Golgari Thug was really, really strong.
Yeah, I mean, Dredge 4, that's a good number.
Yeah.
Double Narcomoeba, why not?
Yep. And we have a Stinkweed Imp in, so we're still good for Dredgers there.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And then if you want, you can Life from the Loam back. Yep. Let's go for it. Forgotten Cave.
Yep.
But what if I had perfect mana and a cycling land?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, right now, Sodek it's turn 2. He's got 2 power in play. He will have a full hand, but it's mostly lands. So it's not. He hasn't done anything unfair at the moment.
Sure, and Creeping Chill's in hand, which is sort of the worst place for it to be.
Yep.
And like, I guess City of Brass cast it, but that's not fun.
No. I liked that Force of Negation there from RJ. He pitched another Force of Negation because what that did was that kept Conflagrate down, also kept a Forgotten Cave in the graveyard, which really just kept redraws, which with dredging is really, really strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, cycle, replace it with a dredge trigger is just my.
Yeah. RJ's pointing out chat. Force of Negation is also an exile effect, which I learned, thankfully, when I was playing Amulet Titan with Karn, and someone Force of Negationed my Lattice. So the next turn, I just went, I'll grab it again.
Yeah, minus, get it back. Thank you for helping me.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, it is good for stuff like this, where you can get a Conflagrate out of there, or get in like something important out of there, so they're not interacting with it anymore.
Yep. Okay, so Spellbomb's going off, so you're not getting that Bloodghast or the Narcomoeba.
Yeah, you're also getting rid of a Forgotten Cave in there as well.
Yeah, I think I'd play this here. Oh, he's cycling it. Okay.
All right.
That was a much better line. I was thinking play that, then you can start putting Stinkweed Imps in play.
Shriekhorn, let's see what they get.
Yep.
Swing for 2. Oof. Yeah, I mean, the exile pile is looking real nice, but...
The graveyard's looking pretty small.
Yeah, almost non-existent, some would say.
So,
okay.
Red and 6 is pretty good. It removes some threats here. It can ping some Narcomoebas. There isn't too much power in play right now from Sodek.
No, not at all. And are we seeing, okay, an Astrolabe? All right. Build the board state, absolutely.
So
From
RJ's
this.
deck is pretty slow, so Sodek does have a little bit of time to progress. And Jason Mind Sculptor doesn't do that much against a deck that doesn't really care as much about the top of its list. Like a Jace ult is one of his win conditions, and Jace doesn't
Right.
line up well against Dredge.
No, absolutely not. And like, I guess if you want to Fate Seal them, that's not even that good because they can just dredge it away.
Okay, Surgical on Life from the Loam, so
Smart.
Sodek needs to untap, horn himself, and then see, hopefully hit a Dredger there.
Yeah. No, looks like the 4-color snow pile has definitely back dredged into the corner. I guess ain't no pile like snow pile.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So a Snapcaster Mage might be one of the better draws that RJ Benson could get here, because then he could snap Surgical and just kind of run away with the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like Dredge is, if not on the ropes, then about to be on the ropes, right?
Right.
Yeah, because they only have a few more turns before they can turn this around before it becomes very bad for them.
3 power in play is just so little. Granted, it's all flying.
Yeah.
Okay, Plague Engineer takes care of something here. Yup.
Name Illusion?
He named Imp.
Imp. Okay.
Okay.
What do you think is the benefit to naming Imp over Illusion there? Is it so you can get a red and 6 and ping down?
Could be, but you don't want to kill it. So
Oh, right,
it gets rid of Death
exactly.
Touch, but I don't really know if Death Touch matters for it. But I guess this is a way you can now swing with your Plague Engineer to try to clock your opponent.
Exactly.
Yep.
Here we go. All right, but Sodek's going to win this race.
Yeah. Turns out bad Zoo is still Zoo, right?
Interesting. It's my mini zoo with tiny little horses and baby jellyfish.
Yep. So a land wouldn't be a terrible draw for Sodek. So he can
Right,
get that
right.
Blood Gas, which would have haste right now. Yeah, I feel like this attack is a trap, right? Because if he blocks the Stinkweed Imp, and then if he is hit by a Spell Bomb or a Surgical,
Right.
that could really push him back.
Yeah, I would just take the 2. I see little reason not to.
I think he's got it in play already because he's got 1,
Don't do
3. He'll have 5 power in play if he doesn't block
Yeah.
next turn. Although perhaps maybe he's thinking, if I block, if my opponent has the Graveyard Hate, I'm not getting Blood Gassed anyway, right? So if he blocks, he gets better benefit out of it.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's rough. I just feel like it's so choreographed and the 2 damage isn't worth worrying about at the moment.
Ooh, I like this. So he gets the Narc Amoeba, puts a Narc Amoeba on top of his library, so he draws a Narc Amoeba, which adds 1 more threat to play.
That's true. And
punishing RJ for not naming Illusion with Plague Engineer.
ooh, and there we have a Creeping Chill. Yeah, I mean, the tables have turned back in Dredge's favor, right? They have now it's still a little bit of a clock. They don't win next turn, but it's not looking very great. Oh, no, they do, because they can swing and they have Creeping Chill. Yep. So, yeah, they either have to deal with the board or deal with the Creeping Chill, or Sodek just wins on his next turn.
Need to draw land to cast that Creeping Chill, though.
Oh, that's true.
Yep.
I saw Shriekhorn and I thought land.
It's in the same spot. I do like this play again of the Thug just to kind of get it out there. Like if Thug, worst case scenario, Thug dies, again, you get to do that. You get to put Bloodghast or something. Even putting a Bloodghast in your hand isn't that terrible because if he's drawing a land anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you Bolt RJ's down to 2 cards, 1 card in hand. I don't see how we can do it. It's 3 flying power. Definitely,
Yeah.
I think definitely punished for not naming Illusion with that Plague.
Exactly. My thoughts exactly. Yeah, I feel like it was maybe they wanted to keep the imp from dealing damage, but the Narcomoebas have just dealt, what, at this point, 10 damage, it feels like?
Yes.
To Anger of the Gods, says chat. I don't think Anger of the Gods is coming into play here.
Nope. Anger would be pretty sweet. I just don't I'm trying to think of an out RJ has at this moment.
I mean, Dead of Winter?
Yeah, nothing.
No. Well, there we go.
All right. I'm filling it out right now. I'm filling it out. Ready? Ready?
Definitely a close one. No, my deck is just meant to churn through fair decks. That deck is just so powerful. He's had some really good Dredge starts, and just the engine of going Life from the Loam and just constantly generating value with Forgotten Cave is so heads up that I'm really giving credit to Sodek on being able to like come up with that Tome Scour idea, because that is sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It definitely has to play slightly differently than I'm sure his old Dredge deck did, because I think Faithless Looting makes up for certain spots that Dredge can get into, and Tome Scour, I feel like Tome Scour gives you a little bit less control. But yeah, there's a reason that Faithless Looting got banned. Chat was saying at one point that'd be like 16 power in play if Faithless Looting, because Faithless Looting did have that double Dredge if you had 2 Dredgers in play. But Cathartic Reunion's just getting leaned on a little bit harder here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea behind playing a deck like Dredge, especially in like the current Modern format, is the ability to just be so explosive and just create all these threats that your opponent can't answer that early. Same way like Hollow One used to operate.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So I think that's kind of the idea behind the Tome Scour right now, is because you can always play like Insolent Neonate and try and go that route. But I don't think it gives you the same explosiveness that something like Tome Scour goes, where you just go Tome Scour, boom, hit 2 Amalgams and a Bloodghast, and you're in business.
Sure. I think that if the meta shifts a little bit and we see a return to people playing so much Leyline, I think Neonate would be a better card in that format, because Neonate, as we saw with some of these Hogak lists, being a 1/1 menace can get there. Like, just having a 1/1 menace can certainly beat down, which is just absolutely unbelievable. I know that I've been beaten down by a 1/1 menace. I've been like, I can block it, no big deal. I'm like, wait, I can't block that guy.
Right.
Well, I guess my Planeswalker's
now get ready for Neonate beats.
Yep.
I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
Yeah, I saw that right there. Little flip. Oh, I see Shane from the Dive Down. Your compatriot is in the chat right now.
Yeah, posting up a storm. Hello there, Shane.
No, but I have to say, I mean, it really was a pleasure, Zach. It was an awesome time. It was a pleasure to finally meet you, and I definitely look forward to working with you again in the future, because this was a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Same for you as well.
No, please, my pleasure. Happy to always participate. Just want to give a shout out to Doom. Thank you and your crew for being able to put this together. It's been an awesome league, and I look forward to continuing to be a part of it.
Yeah, well, you get to 4 more weeks is what we have on the table.
More weeks. 4 more weeks.
Right now it's 31 to 20. No, it's, what is it? It was 26 to 24. So yeah, 31 to 29 right now. Team Ice is over Team Fire. We have a tie to start Season 2, which is unbelievable. Again, I've gone into how close these teams are. It's just absolutely unbelievable. I just can't believe... I'm just going to keep saying it. These teams are ridiculously close. Every single match, every single week, every single game matters. If RJ, if you had one more spell bomb Game 3 there, or
I know,
or a threat. If you just put a threat on the table, maybe. Davius, if he had one more life in that match before, he's like, I was like, he drew the land he needed, but it was a fetched land, so I put another 2. He was dead to the Walking Ballista on board. It's just one more life, and things would have gone very differently in either direction this week. Just it's just amazing how close these games, how close these matches, how close these weeks, and how close this season and this entire Streamers League has been so far.
But I will tell you, I think that just says something about the health of the Modern format overall. I think the Modern format is such a way where any deck can win on any given day. I think there's a lot of sweet potential right now with kind of the vice grip on the format, Faithless Looting, Arclight Phoenix, Dredge, Hollow One, all of these decks that were preemptively pushing these creative archetypes out. And I look forward to seeing a much more fair, kind of skill-centric Modern.
Be ready for Amulet Titan.
Bring it on, baby.
Amulet Titan is ready. Yeah, we play in the next couple weeks, so that'll be fun. I haven't picked my deck yet to finish the season. For those who don't know, next week players will be on the same lists that are posted on the website right now, the same lists they played with this week. But next week we will have the return of Sean Seacrease, our fabled host. But then the week after that, weeks 3, 4, and 5, players will have one more deck to choose from to close out the rest of the league, and that is the deck they will be playing to finish out the season, to finish out the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a run. It's been a pleasure to be a part of this. We've had some great games. We've had some great matches. We've had some great players. I look forward to the continued longevity of this league because I really enjoyed it. And that being said, for those of you in the chat, if you really appreciate what you see, remember, give us a like, a follow, a subscribe. This way, all proceeds will be donated to the charity of the winning team's choice. That's going to be either A21, looking to end slavery worldwide for Team Fire, or the Cancer Research Institute, looking to end cancer worldwide for Team Ice. So definitely remember to check us out there, and if you're willing to contribute, we appreciate anything that we can get.
Viral Drake, thank you for the rating party. Your timing is a bit off though. We we just played our last match for the week. Check us out on next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We will be there, or to catch up on everything you missed this week. You can don't look at the screen. Cover those up. The spoilers. You can check us out on YouTube under Modern Streamers League, or Facebook, or Twitter, or any of those, and you can check out the replay videos of all the matches, all the magic that's happened so far.
For sure. And as a quick thank you, I do want to give a quick shout out to Drake Sasser. That is Viral Drake. If you haven't seen him already, check out his channel. He's another one that's been a Modern specialist for a long time, does have some legacy titles to his name as well. We always appreciate the continued support, and we look forward to hopefully seeing your success as well.
Yeah, Drake, send me a PM if you're interested in being a part of something in the fall or winter.
Alrighty.
So we have Zach here. Zach, would you like to say goodbye, have one last word before we head out for the night?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. I had a ton of fun here. I'm part of a Modern podcast called The Dive Down. Come out every Friday. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast. Talk about latest decks, trends, strategies in Modern. Talk about, different individual decks, individual cards, what's going on in the meta lately. Recent episodes include Eldrazi, Tron, Stoneforge Mystic meta, etc. Check us out. We're not a comedy podcast, but we will make you laugh.
So that podcast is The Dive Down, and it is absolutely great. Shane, we had him on a few weeks ago. We have Zach on tonight, and I assume that we will have more of you guys, or maybe all of you guys, on a show in the future. We'll get all of you.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
So thank you, RJ. Thank you, Zach. It's been a pleasure with you guys tonight. Oh, RJ's flickering again. Thank you.
I don't feel so good, Mr. Q.
So, yeah. Thank you all for watching, and tune in Monday. Sean Seacrease is back. It will be a great, wonderful show. We'll see you all then.
Bye, everybody.